pardon some Knicks fans if they're getting a bit giddy because the mood at Madison Square Garden is so remarkably different in just 4 games under new coach Jeff Van Gundy. In 3 wins, New York appears to have recaptured a little of their attitude and a lot of their confidence. Practices are hard. They've gone back to their roots. And in some cases, like John Starks, what a difference a week makes. He says it's because he's happy. Whatever it is, the result is a pleasure for his teammates to see. And the central figure has given the entire scenario a big thumbs up. Now the villain comes to town. That, of course, being Reggie Miller, whose stunning 8 points in 18 seconds in last year's playoffs will not be forgotten. It meant a win for Indy in Game 1 that eventually turned into a bitter loss in Game 7 for the Knicks. It all means tonight another chapter in the bitter rivalry that is Knicks versus Pacers and Starks versus Miller. Good stuff. MSG, the network of the Knicks, welcomes you live to the world's most famous arena. And tonight at the Garden, with the season series tied at 1, the 3rd meeting between the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. And they're tightly wound up in the Eastern Conference standings. With a win tonight, the Knicks could tie the Pacers in the loss column, but Indiana comes in limping, losers of 5 of their last 7. Good evening, everybody. I'm Al Troutwick. Welcome to our coverage on MSG of New York Knicks basketball. Yes, under Jeff Van Gundy, the Knicks are 3-1 and feeling a lot better about themselves than Indiana at the present time. Tonight, once again, the Knicks will not have Hubert Davis, probably not available until the weekend because of his injured knee, and Charles Oakley probably will not play again for the Knicks, coming back from his fractured thumb until they play in Dallas. But there is a lot more to talk about when the Knicks take on Indiana, and for that we go to Marv Albert and John Andres.
All right, yes, there is, Al and John, but the Knicks and the Pacers get together. The game within the game always seems to focus on Reggie Miller and John Starks. And Miller says he just loves to play against the Knicks because he feels he knows what buttons to push when it comes to John Starks, and he feels that he can get under John's skin.
Well, when John lost it in Indiana, it was really not the button that people thought it was. John Starks got upset and drew a flagrant foul call against him in Indiana on February 4th. John was very upset on a flagrant call when he tackled Dale Davis around the basket. He really lost it, but that ignited a 6-point possession for Indiana and an 18-point lead in that game. However, Saturday night, John Starks shows the new John Starks of the second half of the season, and he's really gotten the touch back. With Hubert Davis out, John Starks is getting plenty of time at 20 points a game over the last 2, shooting the ball well, playing the complete game while averaging over 35 minutes a game.
And as of late, Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers have been struggling. In fact, Reggie only recently has been showing signs that of coming out of what has been a dreadful shooting slump.
Yes, it's been very unusual. He seems to be having somewhat of a down year, although the numbers aren't that bad. But Reggie, over the last 7 games, Marv, you mentioned 31% from the field, and he's almost a 50% career field goal percentage shooter. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games, and when you look at losses, pretty much of the time you've been seeing Reggie shooting poorly, but he loves the Garden, and he's a free agent, so maybe he's going to save his best for tonight.
All right, so the Knicks and the Pacers going through their warm-ups, getting ready, coming up. One of the stirring rivalries in the NBA, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers.
Can't get any worse than this.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
I stand corrected.
Make it a Bud Light.
They're never gonna get it open.
Person needs to send resume to New York. Wants to make a big impression. Goes to post office. Finds out priority mail is a smart solution. Resume gets noticed. Person gets job. Now, if you can only get a can. wants new jerseys. Person has to deliver them overnight. Goes to post office. Finds express mail as a smart solution. Guarantees delivery. Jerseys arrive on time. Person avoids getting sacked.
So what's the big surprise?
Knicks tickets. American Express.
I got a little proposition.
Whoa! Hey, you got my ticket!
Think again, my friend.
Oh, there!
American Express, the official card of the NBA.
I'd have gone to the moon for these.
Tell me about it.
Gravity by Foot Locker. Of all the laws of nature, you are my least favorite.
It's not your fault you exist, but gravity.
You are no friend of mine.
You do not belong in my house. Though you show up every morning.
I defy you, Gravity. You are not my obstacle.
That grin you see, that's me knowing I will beat you.
If only for an
Even
instant.
if it's just for an instant.
Foot Locker, where it all begins and gravity ends.
March Mania, you got it! March Mania coupons for extra savings throughout the store and found only in your Nobody Beats the Wiz circular. What do you need? Scissors and a Nobody Beats the Wiz circular. March Mania coupons, cut them up, cut them out, you got it! What are you gonna do? Cash them in. March Mania coupons, savings on hundreds of items throughout the store. This week at Nobody Beats the Wiz. What are you waiting for? Nobody Beats the Wiz.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor. By American Express. By Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers. By Delta Airlines, the official airline of Madison Square Garden. And by Citibank, for banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps. We are set for the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers about to meet for the third time this season. They split the previous two games. And we're ready now for the introduction of the lineups.
Here the starting lineup for the Pacers at guard at 6'1" from St. John's, number 13, Mark Jackson. At guard at 6'7" from UCLA, number 31, Reggie Miller. At forward at 6'10" from Alabama, number 9, Derek McKee. At forward at 6'11" from Clemson, number 32, Dale Davis. And at center at 7'4" from Marist, number 45, Rick Spitz. Eddie Johnson is injured and will not play.
What do you want to do?
The coaches for your New York Knicks are Jeff Van Gundy, Don Chaney, Bob Salmi, and Jeff Nicks. The trainers are Mike Saunders and Tim Walsh.
From Oklahoma State, number 3, John Starks. At guard at 6'4" from Illinois, number 11, tri-captain, Derek Harper. At forward at 6'7" from Tennessee State, number 14, Anthony Mason. At forward at 6'9" from North Carolina, number 7, J.R. Reed. And at center at 17 from Georgetown, number 33, tri-captain Patrick Ewing.
Well, when the Knicks and the Pacers meet at Madison Square Garden, there is always an extra added attraction to the game. For more on that, let's go to Al Troutwood.
Well, Marv, when Reggie Miller came out onto the floor tonight, he brought a souvenir with him, an autographed Indiana Pacers jersey, and he immediately proceeded to the now well-known seat in the front row, occupied by his one-time enemy, Spike Lee. But of course, you know, Spike wrote the foreword in Reggie's recent book detailing the exploits of the Pacers in the playoffs, and I guess this friendship has gone to a new level. Spike Lee is with us in the front row, and Spike, I've got to wonder, is this a jersey you will ever wear?
Nah, it just happens that I'm never going to wear it. I'm getting it framed, but today's my birthday. I'm 39 years old today. So Reggie gave me this jersey for a birthday present, and I appreciate it. And, you know, we might be very good friends after the summer. You never know what's going to happen.
Does this mean you're going to back off of Reggie in tonight's game?
I've never said anything to Reggie during any of the Knicks Pacers games. Never. It's all fabricated.
Is this part of a grand scheme, a plan to help Reggie come to New York eventually?
I don't know. Somebody must have told him it was my birthday, so he gave me this jersey, so I appreciate it.
Very touching, Spike. Thanks.
I'm not going to wear it, though.
Okay, good. Back to you, Marv.
Well, Spike with some early negotiation on the part of the Knicks with Reggie Miller.
This is enough to choke up a fan, you know, Marv?
Yeah, absolutely.
These are very, very warm moments. I wish we had another half hour to get further into this, right?
And Reggie deflecting the situation by making a birthday presentation. Reggie Miller, as we mentioned at the start, has not been shooting well recently. Did break out of the slump against Toronto 2 games back after going 23 for 81 over a 5-game period. Also in that game against the Raptors, Reggie started the small forward position because Derek McKee sat out. McKee with a sprained right wrist did make his return last night of the game against the Charlotte Hornets and is in action tonight. And there is John Starks, still bothered by the sore ankle, in the starting lineup. Made his first start against the 76ers on Saturday night after 8 straight on the bench with Hubert Davis, the starter at the guard spot alongside Derek Harper. Very difficult stretch for the New York Knicks, starting with tonight against Indiana, at Chicago tomorrow, the 3 games in Texas, back home for New Jersey, at Orlando, at Indiana, and then a home game against the Magic. As Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy has pointed out, lots of tough ats coming up on the schedule.
That's a total of 9 big games in 15 days.
Patrick Ewing getting set to go on the opening tip against Rick Smits. The officials, Jess Kersey, Don Vaden, and Mike Smith. The usual capacity crowd on hand. The 162nd consecutive sellout. J.R. Reed controlling the tip. Hopper played by the former Knick, Mark Jackson. Ewing going right to it and draws the foul. It is always the concern of Larry Brown and the Pacers that Rick Smits not get in early foul difficulty. This one called on McKee, was helping out on Ewing. So Derek McKee picks it up, and Patrick Ewing at the line.
It's always got to be a concern, too, of any NBA opposing coach of the Knicks when Patrick Ewing takes the ball to the basket with the force that he just did instead of the turnaround jumper.
Hopper with the pressure on Jackson. Mark Jackson has had a very solid season, although did not shoot well in the loss to Charlotte last night. Came up with 6 more assists, 511 for the year to make it 2 straight seasons over the 500 mark. Smits won't count. An offensive foul's called.
Too bad for Larry Brown and Rick Smits, because that was a pretty move.
Foul committed by Smits. The Knicks and the Pacers split the previous 2 games. This is game 3 of the 4-game season set. Here is Reed, and the Knicks lead 3-0. Knicks won here at the Garden back in November and lost at Indianapolis February 4th, 90-83. That's the game that saw the John Starks explosion. The holding foul assessed on Reed. They'll conclude the season series April the 2nd, as you saw on that upcoming schedule, at Market Square.
Marv, the unusual part of that first meeting in New York, as Rick Smits is rejected by Ewing, was that neither Rick Smits or Derek McKee was available to play in those games for the Pacers because of injuries. And for the Knicks, Charles Smith had a huge game. So it's a whole different personality of this matchup between these two here tonight.
Knicks attempting their first 3-point shot. They were 5 of 25. Saturday against the 76ers. Smits with the ball fake. Hopper and Ewing converging on Smits and the foul on Ewing.
That's kind of a call for Rick Smits, I think, because it looked like Harper had the basketball and denied Smits the movement forward, and he just tripped.
Minute and a half gone by. Smits stopped by Ewing, has to pop it back. Here is Miller for three. Reggie Miller from straightaway has tied the game at three.
Always a good sign for the Pacers when Reggie hits him early, although he doesn't discriminate. He can hit him anytime, as the Knicks know only too well, as J.R. Reed turns that ball over.
Traveling violation on Reed. Last night, the Pacers lost to the Hornets in Charlotte, 102-94. Indiana shooting only 34%. They scored only 36 points in the first half. What a fake by Miller. Beautifully done by Reggie Miller.
Boy, John Starks was a spectator real quickly on that super move.
Starks bottled up by Jackson and lost it. So Reggie Miller with Indiana's first 5 points, and the Pacers lead 5-3. And again, they clear it out. Miller going against Starks, and now McKee off the ball fake. So Indiana up 7-3.
Boy, Mason remembers McKee. 10 of 13 in their last matchup in Indiana for McKee from the field.
7-0 run by the Pacers. Ewing lost it. Jackson has a 3-on-2 and then decides to pull it up. McKee finding Dale Davis. The Pacers with 9 unanswered, and they lead it 9-3.
That tells Jeff Van Gundy that his team isn't intense enough on defense. The Knicks were too slow in transition and identifying open people.
They double up on Harper and fouled by Jackson. Jackson not allowing Harper any room to maneuver and was called for the blocking foul. Mason in a battle with McKee. McKee breaks it up. And back comes Jackson.
Tough to get free with the long arms of McKee, who's 6'10".
Crowd wanted to travel on Miller. Good job by Ewing fronting Smits. Shot clock at 6. Jackson stripped by Harper. 3-on-1. Mason blows the stuff. Well, we're going to blow a stuff. That is doing it with the exclamation point as it bounced high over the glass.
Yeah, a lot of force on that downward motion by Mason.
Nothing good happening for the Knicks here in the early going. They have turned it over 4 times. Indiana has reeled off 9 straight points. The holding foul is called on Starks.
Harper with a terrific steal with his quick hands, 3-on-1. Mason has what would be construed as an easy shot and sends it skyward as he misjudges the rim.
Make it 11 straight points, and the Knicks need a timeout. Pacers 11, and the Knicks 3, and they will talk it over. 8:10 remaining, first quarter. Pacers up 11-3.
The Knicks head for Chi-Town to battle Michael and the Bulls after MCS Cannon Game Night tomorrow night right here on MSG.
At Book Chevrolet Buick, you get the best selection and service, and you get it for less. Quality used cars with your choice of warranties. New Chevys, Geos, and Buicks, plus expert collision and bodywork.
If you're happy, tell a friend or a relative. But if you have a problem, tell me or my son John.
Get more for less at Book Chevrolet Buick, 66 Washington Avenue, Nutley, New Jersey.
Fire glazed ham, a true masterpiece. Finest quality hams and turkeys, slowly cooked over hickory chips, fire and honey glazed, spiral sliced for serving. For all your gift and entertaining needs, Fire Glazed Ham Store and Cafe, also featuring Swiss Colony gifts. conveniently located at the entrance of Willowbrook Mall between Stearns and Macy's. Visit our store or call 890-9099 to reserve your ham or turkey today. Taste the difference yourself. Fire glazed ham.
Visit the new Claremont and see how easy it is to buy or lease a new Cadillac, Pontiac, or Oldsmobile. At the new Claremont, you'll find superior service, wide selections, and unmatched prices. Save on Cadillac DeVille with the North Star system. Feel the driving excitement of Pontiac. Or get huge savings on Oldsmobile. Relax. Let us show you how easy it is. Visit your hometown dealer since 1959. Located on Bloomfield Avenue at Route 46 in West Tulsa.
The new Claremont, a whole new style.
Remember, when you're having good times with good friends, drink responsibly because friends know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Budweiser.
There's Dale Davis in his 5th year out of Clemson, and a moment ago he was able to put one down.
Yes, here's a Marriott Marquis look at Dale Davis, wide open under the basket. Patrick Ewing not there in time.
Pacers with 11 consecutive points, and they lead the Knicks 11-3. 4 minutes gone by in the first. Ewing, yes. The Indiana Pacers have lost 9 of the last 10 games here at the Garden against the Knicks. Overall, Knicks have won 8 of the last 10 in the regular season. 14 of the last 7, that is regular season play. Davis working on Reed. That's too easy for Dale Davis. Was able to get wherever he wanted on the floor, and the Pacers now lead 13-5.
Dale Davis at 6'11". He moves so well. You don't think he's that tall, but he just reached right over Reed.
Ewing. So the ball back to Indiana. Indiana Pacers 16-18 on the road. That's actually 3 wins away from tying the franchise record of 19 road wins that was accomplished last season.
Very tough at home with that 24-7 record.
And they have a 3-game homestand coming up. Starks off the pick. Here's Starks going all the way and draws the foul. Foul on Miller.
Matter of fact, when the Knicks played the Pacers on February 4th in Indiana, that victory continued a 17-game home winning streak for Indiana. Since that period, Marv, February 4th, the Knicks and the Pacers have both won 9 games and lost 10. They've both slipped a bit since that Feb 4 game.
Ewing with the drop step, and Davis rebounds. Pacers up 13-5. Miller played very tightly by Starks. Goes baseline, beating Starks. And rebounded by Reed.
Some sensational move by Miller. He also beat Ewing at the end of that move.
Ewing. Indiana leads 13-7. So Ewing is open up, hitting 2 of 4 from the field. He has 5 points.
Patrick trying to intimidate the official into a delayed foul call. He thought he was fouled as well.
Have to wonder about that sore ankle of John Starks. McKee beating Mason on the lead pass because Reggie Miller has been able to just whip by him on several occasions.
That McKee-Mason matchup looking again like a tough one for Mason.
Offensive foul. It is a charge on Hopper.
You know, this, you don't hear much about the Pacers, first of all, but secondly, you don't hear much about their team defense. But the Pacers and the Knicks the Knicks are 4th and the Pacers 5th defensively in the NBA. They're a very fine defensive team, and the Knicks are feeling that right now.
Indiana's hit 7 of 10 from the field. Smits with the room. And Mason pushing it down. Starks for 3. Rebounded by Dale Davis. Jackson with Hopper back. Smits, and that's a travel. No question about it. That is not a move that Rick Smits would normally try to pull off. We're coming up on 5 minutes remaining in the first. Ewing fouled by Smits. And that is 2 on Smits.
All eyes are on Larry Brown, and Larry trains his eyes on Antonio Davis.
This has been the pattern and has always been the concern. Rick Smits with the early foul trouble, and he will sit down. Antonio Davis goes 6'9", 230 pounds, and he'll come on, and at times he'll play center.
Smits was recovering from helping out on the open John Starks, and the judgment that he used in bothering Ewing was obviously faulty, as Ewing was aggressively going for that shot.
Someone may have stepped in too quickly. Yes, lane violation, and Ewing gets another free throw. Have to see how Larry Brown plays it defensively against Patrick Ewing. Will it be Dale Davis or Antonio Davis? Indiana with a 15-9 lead, and it looks like a wet spot on the floor was cited.
Well, Antonio Davis is 6'9", Dale Davis 6'11", so you would think automatically maybe the taller guy, but perhaps Dale Davis is more important to this team, and Larry Brown doesn't want to sacrifice him to Ewing. We'll see.
The Knicks come in with 3 straight wins. They lost their first game after Jeff Van Gundy took over for Don Nelson, losing in Philadelphia, but then blew out Chicago in that stunner. They had the wipeout against Minnesota, and they just did get by Philadelphia on Saturday. Here's McKee with a wild shot. Reed battling for position with Antonio Davis. So it is Dale Davis defending against Patrick Ewing, and it's a 3-second violation.
Reed worked very hard to get position to get the ball, and then forgot about where his feet were.
And John, the Knicks with their 6th turnover. You look back Saturday night against the Sixers, they had 7 for the entire game, a season low. They have already committed 6 in this first quarter. Antonio Davis, nice move. Antonio Davis, like Dale Davis, does most of his scoring from in close. Ewing knocked aside by Mason, and it will be Indiana ball.
Nice job by Mason on the offensive boards, where the Knicks anxiously await the return, the impending return of Charles Oakley soon.
There was some speculation that perhaps he would return tonight, perhaps tomorrow. Nice play by Hopper for the game against Chicago, but it looks like the best hope would be Dallas on Sunday. Mason will shoot a pair. He was hacked on the drive to the basket. Oakley sitting out with the fractured right thumb. There is Charles, who surprised everyone with a very vigorous practice yesterday. Track record is why none of the Knicks was surprised to see Charles back yesterday, a little more than a month after his surgery, which took place back in mid-February to repair that fractured thumb. He was supposed to be out 6 to 8 weeks, but the feeling is he will make his return against the Mavericks Sunday in Dallas and be ready for that Texas swing. He also did practice with the team for an hour earlier today.
Well, Charles is right on that April 1st schedule, pretty much so anyway, as was predicted after he had the operation.
Hubert Davis, though, is called day-to-day with that hyper-extended left knee injury. Another Indiana turnover. Mason. Ewing for Mason. And the Pacers now lead 17-14.
Oh, that's a sensational Ewing pass.
It leads to a Pacer timeout with 3:09 remaining first quarter.
Make sure you stay in the chariot, Chuck. I guarantee you're going to win the dang race.
That's good.
True story.
You are so special. That chariot thing you did and the water stuff. I love you, man.
You're not getting my Bud Light. Frankly, son, you frighten me.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
And it's more like, I love you, man. See?
When I punch the clock, I'm a working machine. I got boots that do the job, got my Wolverines. Lay a span of bridge, make that molten steel pour. I can build a better country and keep coming back for more. I can work like hell with my hands and my tools, cause I feel like heaven in my Wolverine boots. Wolverine Durashocks, guaranteed comfort or your money back. Work like hell, feel like heaven. Wolverine Durashocks, made in the USA.
Nobody does it like you, the way that you do. Nobody's got the power to please me.
The new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with a 5-brush agitator. It washes and extracts dirt like a whole crew of professionals. So you know, there's really no comparison.
Nobody does it like you, Hoover. Nobody does it like you.
As part of MSG Network's community outreach program, Yes Make It Count, MSG Network feature reporter Deb Kaufman will serve as a host for the Bears for Kids fundraiser tomorrow at Superstar Sports. You're invited to attend. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. and the event includes a buffet dinner, a live auction, a raffle that features prizes such as trips, sporting event tickets, and autographed sports memorabilia. For more information on how you can attend, call 212-501-0672.
On the left, that is Kim Van Gundy, the wife of new Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy. And next to Kim is Bill Van Gundy, Jeff's father. We've been talking about Jeff's dad the last couple of games. He's been coaching for over 3 decades, currently in his 13th season as head coach at Genesee Community College in upstate New York, in Batavia, New York. So Bill on hand to check out things.
Well, he probably had an off night for a change now that his season is over, and nice to see him down here.
Derek McKee able to get it over the outstretched hand of Patrick Ewing. Indiana 19 and the Knicks 13. 2:45 remaining in this first quarter. Marv Albert with John Andres and Al Troutwig from the Garden. Harper on a quick release. Pacers lead by 4, and for Harper, his first field goal.
See, that crisp ball movement allows Harper that half step before Mark Jackson can get to him.
Jackson met by the double team. Antonio Davis. Occasionally he'll take that straightaway jump shot from beyond the foul line. Reggie Miller has not seen the ball much in the latter stage of the first quarter. Perhaps should see it more frequently. He is on fire. 3 of 4 from the field. 7 points. Also has 3 assists.
Reggie got a pick, though. His teammates are looking for him to get him loose. It's putting a lot of pressure on Starks.
Reggie doesn't force shots. You know, he's not a chucker. In fact, Larry Brown from time to time has told Reggie he should be shooting more, and earlier in the season there was the feeling he was not shooting enough. Mason getting inside, and the Pacers now lead 21-17.
Another beautiful look from Patrick Ewing to Mason.
Larry Brown's complaint about Reggie Miller, and there's been all kinds of speculation about how they have been getting along the past couple of years. The complaint is that he doesn't play with the same kind of passion. Miller rebounded by Mason, as he does against the Knicks, as he does come playoff time. He'd like to see that more often during the season. John Starks, and that's a 2-pointer. His foot was on the line, and Starks able to bring the Knicks within 1. Larry also wants to see more aggressiveness from Reggie Miller on the defensive end. And a defense from the crowd. Here's McKee. And Indiana now leads 23-19.
Marv, sounds to me like Larry Brown wants a lot from Reggie.
Yes.
He's only his high scorer now.
Well, that doesn't mean that you can't look for more.
No.
Jackson missing on the reverse. And here's Antonio Davis. Ewing was trying to draw the foul. But Larry, on the other hand, is very difficult to please.
Yes, he's a typical New Yorker. We mustn't forget he isn't demanding New Yorker by birth.
Pacers lead 25-19, and the Knicks are holding for a final shot. 10 seconds remaining in the quarter. Harper able to split through. Harper goes all the way. Jackson. Reed did not want, well, he does commit the foul. Not a smart foul by J.R. Reed. You can't believe it. J.R. Reed called for the foul as time was running out.
Well, there's two things here. Reed probably tried to pull away, but Jackson's just too cagey, and he sensed the big man around him, so you know he probably, let's take a look. He might have leaned into JR a little bit. And that is a three-point situation for Mark Jackson.
So 3 free throws coming up. And now the officials, with the judgment that the quarter was not over, they've put 0.4 of a second back on the clock as Jackson goes to the line for the 3 free throws. Mark, a 76% foul shooter.
This brings me back to that February 4th game, Marv, in Indiana, when Starks got called for that flagrant foul. And that was followed, which, of course, the foul shots ensued. That was followed by a Derek Harper foul on Reggie Miller outside the three-point line. All of a sudden, in 9 seconds, the Pacers had 6 points from the foul line. And a 12-point Pacer lead became 18, and the Knicks went south from there at Indiana.
Pacers 26 and the Knicks 19. Adrian Caldwell, 6'9", 265-pounder, has checked in for Indiana. And the third and final attempt. 0.4 of a second remaining, and that will wrap it. After one, it's the Pacers 27 and the Knicks 19. Will be back at the Garden in a moment.
The harshest winter in years is almost over, so crawl out from under your electric blanket because the Toyota Spring Rush is on. If you rush into your Toyota dealer, you can see tough new trucks, like the Tacoma 4x4. Even save 2,000 big ones in value package savings on a T100. Or lease a Tacoma 4x2 for a mere $149 a month. But hurry, these offers wait for no one. Tail-kicking trucks and values to match. Wow, what a rush.
Are you lost in a financial jungle? What you need is someone who knows the ropes. Someone you can count on for advice and financial information. MetLife can help you tame the risks and help you make sense of it all. Get Met. It pays.
Welcome to Heathrow, Wilson. Is London what you expected?
Not exactly, sir. How are we going to find our rental counter?
We don't need a rental counter. We're with Hertz #1 Club Gold.
Gee, it's fast.
Exactly.
Sir, the car's waiting on your name in light.
Exactly.
And there's a canopy to protect us from the weather.
Exactly.
You know, sir, this is just like the States.
Not exactly, Wilson. You're on the wrong side of the road.
Sorry, sir.
Meet a cop who uses all 5 of his senses like weapons. They call him the Sentinel.
Premieres Wednesday, March 20th at 8 on UPN.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Toyota. I love what you do for me. Toyota. By MetLife. Get Met. It pays. And by Hertz. For business, for pleasure, nobody does it exactly like Hertz.
Back at Madison Square Garden in the 4th row with Bill Van Gundy, the dad of the Knicks' new coach, Jeff. I can't imagine the pride you must feel, Bill, for all the things that Jeff said. You've contributed to his knowledge of the game, his love of the game. You sit here and directly across the floor, there's your son, the head coach of the New York Knicks.
Well,
Al, I am very proud, but I was as proud of him a week ago Thursday as I am today. I'm not proud of what job he has. I'm proud of who he is. Both he and Stan have been great kids.
What do you think is the most significant thing that he brings as a skill or a knowledge to this coaching position?
I think right now what he brings is knowing the players know him, and I think that his wanting to get back to the Knick trademark defense, rebounding and all, I think that's what he's going to bring most of.
Did he seek out your advice, or did you give any?
Oh, I've always given advice to both of my sons, but no, they don't seek it out. They're better coaches than I am, Al.
What do you think the big difference is in coaching the college kids that you coach and what he faces with those millionaires on the bench?
Oh, altogether different. And worst thing is that game like Chicago, we never have anything like Michael Jordan we have to defend. But, you know, they're all very, very good athletes. They all want to get their time and everything. It's tough.
Now, Bill, he says that Ernie Grunfeld knocked on his hotel room door in Philadelphia and told him and was shocked. How did he tell you?
Well, when Ernie came to the hotel room, I was on the phone with him. And I was talking to him about a little family thing involving his daughter and Stan's daughter. And he just said, Dad, someone's at the door. I'll call you back. And he didn't call me back for about an hour, hour and a half.
How dare him?
Well, I think he probably had things a little bit more important than that. And then he just told me that he was going to be coaching it the rest of the year.
Well, Bill, you get greater tickets now. Thanks a lot for your time, and congratulations to your family.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Bill Van Gundy. Marv, back to you.
All right, thank you, Al. And Bill's other son, Stan Van Gundy, is an assistant under Pat Riley with the Miami Heat. Second quarter is underway. Haywood Workman, who had just come on, called for that foul. Ricky Pierce on the floor for the first time. Willie Anderson, Herb Williams checking in for the Knicks. That pass intended for Mason, able to save it, but played by Workman. Here is Pierce. Changed his mind, was going to go for the jump shot. This is Caldwell, blocked by Williams. And Harper moving on Workman. Head fakes his way and is rejected by Caldwell. Harper snatching it back, though. Adrian Caldwell in his fourth year out of Lamar. Spent part of 3 years with the Houston Rockets.
He's 6'9", and he adds to the significant size the Pacers have. And boy, that's having an adverse effect on the Knicks inside the foul line. They are not comfortable at all.
Shot clock is down to 4, and now Caldwell replaced by Dwayne Shinsis. Dwayne Shinsis has made it back after arthroscopic knee surgery. Rick Smits sitting down with 2 fouls. Rick is also bothered by a sprained right knee. Eddie Johnson is out with a knee problem. Anderson fires it up with the shot clock running down. Did not make contact with the rim. So it is a 24-second violation.
Well, the Knicks now shooting 44% from the field. The Pacers 57. And that Pacer tough defense has really taken its toll here in the first half.
J.R. Reed is trying to check back in. Wayne Shintz is playing only his 27th game of the season. He was a starter at the beginning of the year. That is not a good stat for the Knicks. Wayne Shinsis was in the starting lineup on 8 occasions in the absence of the injured Rick Smits right at the start of the season. Workman, and a travel call on Antonio Davis. Now Reed is able to check back in, and Caldwell will return. Patrick Ewing sitting down. Antonio Davis departs. Knicks with 8 turnovers. The Pacers with 7.
Charlie Ward on the court now has been assigned clearly by Jeff Van Gundy the backup role to Derek Harper. And Gary Grant's the one affected most by that. Gary Grant missed several games recently over a 2-week period due to the passing of his father.
It's like Antonio Davis is having his finger checked by the Pacer trainer David Craig. So the Knicks with Herb Williams, Anthony Mason, and J.R. Reed up front. Charlie Ward, Willie Anderson in the backcourt. And Reed pushed by Caldwell.
Charlie Ward's job now is to bring some order to the Knick offense and to get some flow out there. And the ball's got to move to make this tough man-to-man defense break down by Indiana.
Indiana in the midst of an 8-0 run that carries back to the first quarter. They ran off 11 straight points in one stretch in the first. Herb Williams able to keep it alive. And a travel on Ward, who was indecisive, was going to take the shot and then changed his mind. It has not been a good first half for the Knicks. They scored the first 3 points. Indiana reeled off 11 straight. They are now down by 10, 29-19.
You know, in some ways, Marv, the Knicks have had too long a vacation. They played Saturday and then they played Wednesday, as we know, in Minnesota. But they've had one game in a week, basically, and on an NBA lifestyle, that's not much.
Although there are always two ways of looking at it. Indiana comes in complaining that, well, the Knicks are here well rested, waiting at home, and they played last night and lost in Charlotte. So take your pick, John.
I'm just in pursuit of excuses, that's
right.
all.
That is Dale Davis back on the floor. Pacers lead by 10. Williams. Herb Williams for the Knicks' first field goal of the second quarter. Here's Miller. Ball through the hands of Shinsis. Anderson for Reed. Open shot. Yes. The Knicks cut it to a 6-point lead.
That was one of the very few uncontested shots that the Knicks had here in the first half.
And you hear the chant of defense. Ricky Pierce tried to shake off Anthony Mason and then threw one for us. I believe that was headed in your direction, John.
I blew it away, Marv, when it got close.
It was such a bad pass, you would not accept it.
No, I didn't want to acknowledge it, no.
The Knicks down by 6 with 4 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Anderson now guarded by Miller. They double up on Mason. Shot clock at 6. Reed, not pretty, and called for a travel. That is one of the major problems in the game of J.R. Reed. You go back to his days at North Carolina, then in the NBA at Charlotte, San Antonio, now with the Knicks. He is among the leaders in the Department of Traveling violations. In fact, that is his 3rd turnover in this first half. McKee with Dale Davis and Antonio Davis up front. Workman and Pierce in the backcourt, so Miller sitting down. Mason getting a little too tricky with a good defensive player in McKee and then able to recover. Not a pretty dribbling sequence by Anthony Mason.
Well, and now the offense starts with 8 seconds to go in the 24-second clock.
Ward try to bail it out with a 3. Rebounded by Williams, and Herb puts it up. Antonio Davis on the box out. Ricky Pierce for Antonio Davis. And a foul. Dale Davis took the shot, and a timeout called by the Knicks. Herb Williams called on that foul. 6:38 left, first half.
It's late at night. Do you know where your children are? Keep in touch with the Motorola pager from Nobody Beats the Wiz. Excuse me, I've got to use the...
Where could the new Bell Atlantic B2B be? Well, the new B2B could be by the computer, for its thousands of northern New Jersey sales and service centers. Or the new B2B could be by the supply closet, for its endless lists of new suppliers. But the new B2B better be by the boss, because it now has a unique info guide stocked with great tips on how to grow your business. The all-new Bell Atlantic B2B, for your business today and your business to be. Bell Atlantic, the heart of communication.
Some health plans put doctors in one place, some put them all over the place. So you choose a nucleus of doctors or a network of doctors, unless you choose the best of both worlds. HIP Health Plan of New Jersey, with more choices for quality, affordable care, both in our state-of-the-art centers and in our network of private doctors' offices. So you can feel the HIP touch in one place or all over the place when you choose HIP.
For the very best in professional building materials, it's Norwich Building Supply in Totowa. Norwich provides value in the largest selection of roofing, siding, windows, doors, and garage doors. Now available, Anderson windows and patio doors. Whether you are remodeling, replacing, or building new, it's Anderson. Come home to quality. Come home to Anderson. For the finest building supplies at the best value, remember Norwich Building Supply in Totowa. Quality service for over 35 years.
It's now. Well, this past Friday, Charlie Ward ran a clinic at Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club up in the Bronx, and Charlie came away extremely impressed with this young lady, Angela Barrett, 6 years old. She's in kindergarten, John, and a southpaw, you notice. She hit 4 straight dead on from the right baseline.
Southpaws are the best shooters, Marv.
Why would you say that?
I think you've learned over the years. But you know, how about this? How about Charlie's coaching? I mean, the man can coach shooting.
Charlie did a nice job with the kids at Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club up in the Bronx. On Friday, the electronic wizard, Howie Singer, was on hand to monitor it all.
The Knicks are going to keep their eye on Angela.
Pacers up by 7, 6.5 remaining in this first half. Mason looking to put the move on McKee. McKee gets help from Pierce. Shot clock down to 4. And off the turnover, here comes Workman. He has Pierce. It's a charging foul. Charlie Ward took the hit, and Ricky Pierce is upset. And a technical foul has been called. As you take another look at it, Pierce continued the argument, did not like this call, and was hit with the technical by the official, Mike Smith.
I don't blame Ricky Pierce because Charlie Ward got there, it seemed, too late to establish a defensive position. I mean, that's what Pierce is thinking. Hey, I'm in the act of shooting when the guy arrives. So that's Pierce's position, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Charlie Ward is a fearless physical player, evidenced by that and many other plays that he makes on defense.
So Willie Anderson able to hit the technical. Indiana by 6. We are halfway through the second quarter. Ewing rebounded by Dale Davis. Antonio Davis. Derek McKee. Ewing got a piece of it. Dale Davis able to get out of the lane. Crowd looking for a 3-second call. Antonio Davis lost it.
Boy, the Pacers have been thwarted for the longest period now by the Knicks defense.
Herb Williams. And back comes Workman. Pierce. Ricky Pierce with the terrific touch. 36 years old in his 14th NBA season.
He's so efficient in his offensive moves.
Pacers by 8. Here's Ward for 3. So Charlie Ward knocks down the three-pointer. He's a 35% shooter from downtown. Indiana 32, the Knicks 27. For the Knicks, their first three-pointer of the night. And a foul called on Ward. Substituting now by both clubs, Hoffer, Starks, and Reed come on for the Knicks. Miller back for the Pacers. Mason, Ward, and Anderson will sit down. Lou Carnesecca, the man who coached Mark Jackson at St. John's, on hand tonight. Mark back on the floor, replacing Haywood Workman. Herb Williams played well in the second quarter, able to get to that rebound. Starks planting for the shot, now wants the screen. And Starks is back with it, same spot. Ewing actually intercepted that pass that was meant for Harper. Yes, and it counts. Strange how things can happen. That pass not intended for Patrick Ewing.
Well, the Pacers are doing such a good job following that basketball. 2 men on the ball, it seems, everywhere. And Ewing reaching up for that shot, and he certainly made a good move in the catch and the finish.
And then barely hit the rim. But once again, the free throw shooting style of Patrick Ewing, which is deceptive. It gets guys leaning in, and it causes the lane violation once again. Opposing players trying to get the jump on the release, and that little hesitation usually does it. And again, Ewing is able to take advantage. Pacers lead at 32-30. We come up on 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwig from the Garden. Clyde Frazier will join us at halftime. Dale Davis, it counts, and the foul. He took a walloping from Herb Williams, but he is so strong he was able to get the shot up, able to score, and he'll go to the line.
Well, that makes it 7 points now for the Indiana Pacers here in the second quarter. The Knicks have done a very big job in response to the tough defense of the Pacers.
Yes, Indiana led after one, 27-19. Neither club exactly burning it up here in this second quarter, but the Pacers now lead by 5. You see the second quarter rundown. Again, they doubled up on Ewing. A wild pass, got away with it for Starks. Pacers lead 35-32. Second field goal for Starks. He has 4 points.
John's doing a good job denying the ball to Miller, making him catch it out way high as he just did.
Here's McKee. Just did beat the 24-second buzzer. Ewing working against Dale Davis. And the Knicks, in the midst of a good run, have come within 1.
It's an interesting response by the Knicks. The Pacers own the first quarter. The Knicks now owning the second quarter.
And Mark Jackson calls for time. A 15-6 spurt by the Knicks. Pacers by 1. We'll be right back.
So what's the big surprise?
Knicks tickets. American Express.
I got a little proposition. Whoa! Hey, you got my ticket!
Think again, my friend.
Oh, there!
American Express, the official card of the NBA.
I'd have gone to the moon for these.
Tell me about it.
Morning, fish. It's me, Bax and Jack, the Modem Man. Up and downloading, baby. Techno trailblazer, the web slinger, commander of the communication nation.
AT&T True Reach Savings saves you 25% on all types of U.S. calls, even faxes and modems, on your AT&T phone bill when you spend $25 a month.
Bi-coastal. Information San Francisco.
Nice.
Don't say.
Modem Man.
Savings on all kinds of calls. That's your true choice. AT&T.
Hugh McGaddick here with presidential hopeful Mike Hall. Mike, what are your views on McDonald's Filet-O-Fish and McChicken sandwich?
Well, I stand for the... What?
Don't you just love them? And they're on sale. Right now, get a Filet-O-Fish or McChicken for just 89 cents when you buy large fries.
That's great, but America craves change.
That's why I crave them. They're a great change of pace. Or in the morning, get a sausage McMuffin with egg for 89 cents.
But what about the issues? Issues?
Bless you. The Great American Sandwich Sale for a very short time at McDonald's.
MSG Network's coverage of Yankees preseason action concludes on Saturday, March 30th at 1 p.m. when the Yankees take on the New York Mets. John Starks is working very hard, as he did in their last meeting in Indiana, and successfully, I might add, against Reggie Miller, who shot the ball poorly. John denying him the ball. He's playing tough defense. Miller needs picks to get free.
Jeff Van Gundy now with Starks and Harper at the guards. Ewing with Mason and Reed up front. Jackson, Pierce, Miller, Dale Davis, and Antonio Davis on the floor. And an alley-oop that fooled Ewing. Beautifully done. Mark Jackson for Dale Davis.
That's got to be embarrassing to Patrick, I would think. Arms were down. He wasn't following the ball.
Indiana by 3 with 2.5 remaining in this first half. Illegal defense to call for the first time against Indiana. A very intriguing stretch coming up for the New York Knicks. Tomorrow night, the start of a 4-game, 7-day road trip. Another look at the alley-oop pass for Dale Davis. Tomorrow night, the Knicks playing at Chicago. Bulls have won 2 of 3 this season, but the Bulls with vivid memories of that March 10th blowout by the Knicks here at the Garden, 104-72. Patrick Ewing dumps it off. John Starks had to save that pass. Here's Derek Harper right on target for 3, and he's tied the game at 37.
Marv, on the subject of the Bulls, I wonder if Scottie Pippen will show. A lot of vibrations that he may make the return tomorrow.
The feeling is he will be back in action, which has brought forth varying opinions because he may not be ready. And the question is, should he risk further injury to the back? Starks coughed it up. Here's Miller, and he's stripped and fouled. Fouled in the act. Foul committed by Starks.
End-to-end John Starks here, dribbling the basketball, loses control to his buddy Reggie Miller, who drives that ball up court. He drives hard to the basket. Looks like a good play when you see it that way. Starks getting the hand in, deflecting that ball away, but the foul was called.
Reggie Miller, one of the better free throw shooters in the league, 86% at the line. He's averaging just under 21 points per game. He has 8 points in this first half.
Reggie is 10th best in the NBA. But you know, Marv, you look at the top 10 as I am right now, no one's made more foul shots than Reggie Miller in the top 10.
He spent lots of time at the line. Last night, 10 of 11 at the free throw line in Charlotte. Knicks down by 2 points. Ewing. Minute 20 remaining, first half. Miller. And it did not appear that he had it teed up the way he would like, but was able to make the recovery and line drive it home. 11 for Reggie, and Indiana leads by 4.
Well, the reason why he's so tough, he's 6'7", so he's got a good 3-inch look over the presence of Harper.
Mason with a gorgeous spin to beat McKee. 8 points for Anthony Mason. Pacers 41, the Knicks 39. Just under a minute left in the half. Shot clock down to 5. And Mason is called for the foul. That is his first.
Boy, Mason was climbing on defense there. He's a very good defensive player, and that's really an understatement. So it's unusual to see him try and block the shot of a man as tall as McKee is, who's 6'11". He's not going to succeed in blocking his shot. Mason's 6'7". So he's got to hold his ground and be a defensive force with his arms up, not trying to block the shot, leaving his feet.
Adrian Caldwell back for Antonio Davis. 4 points, 4 rebounds for Davis.
Those are big numbers for McKee. He was the key man against the Knicks on February 4th at Indiana with 10 out of 13 from the field. And it wasn't only inside, he was bombing jump shots as well.
Indiana by 4 with 35 seconds left in the half. Harper for Mason. Backing McKee. Ewing. Rebounded by Reed. Starks for three.
Oh, Reggie got burned. He came out and left Starks alone to try and bother Ewing, which he succeeded in doing, but then Starks was wide open. No one covered Miller.
22nd timeout taken by Larry Brown. 14 and 9/10 seconds to go in this first half. Indiana has led by as many as 10. They've had a couple of good runs. They ran off 11 straight points at one stretch. In the early going, ran off 8 straight points. But the Knicks have been able to come back.
See Reggie Miller going at Ewing. Ball moves from Reed on that nice rebound out to the wide open John Starks. Once again, that little extra second to shoot the ball, to look at the basket means so much. That's why the Knicks have got to continue moving the ball well, as John Starks seems to be getting back to his old habits of talking to Reggie Miller.
And then he and Mark Jackson involved in a conversation. Here's Herb Williams back for J.R. Reed. Down to 14 seconds to go in the half. Indiana ball up by 1. Pacers want to hold for that final shot of the half.
Oh, they're looking for Reggie off a pick.
5 seconds. And Miller for 3. Back it comes to Miller. And not able to hit on consecutive three-point attempts, and then just punched the monitor in front of New York Times reporter Mike Weiss.
See him holding his hand too, Marv. He might have hurt himself.
There are a number of athletes, whatever the sport, who will lose their temper and will tell you later, not a wise move. Here is Reggie walking off and very upset.
Mike Wise is a provocative kind of writer too, and I think Reggie took note of that. Not your typical New York Times writer.
So Reggie Miller showing his fiery side after missing the consecutive threes. On the subject of fiery, Bob Page next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Page. A no-holds-barred discussion on college basketball with Syracuse head coach Jim Boeheim right here on the next Page One.
When they were small, we had a little sports car.
But then they got bigger, so we had to get a four-door.
So we leased a new Volkswagen Jetta. 0 down, $219 a month. Nice, huh? German-engineered front-wheel drive Jetta comes with rack and pinion steering, daytime running lights, dual airbags. It's a great driving car.
It's got a big back seat.
And a huge trunk.
Wineliners come from Germany.
Maybe that's why they like driving so much.
On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Drivers wanted at Genzinger Motors of Clifton.
IAMS knows that having a dog can make people healthier. It could even lead to a longer, fuller life. Now, knowing this, why not return the favor by feeding your dog IAMS? It's more nutritious because its quality ingredients are more digestible. Find IAMS at
450 Route 17 North, Paramus. Interstate Shopping Center, Ramsey. 1 Route 46 West, Totowa. Or call 1-800-PETNOSH for locations nearest you.
Low prices. Low lease payments. Low pressure. That's Glenn Toyota and Leonard Toyota.
It's not just a sale that's important to us, it's the relationship we build with our customers.
The only thing lower than the price is the pressure. Drive off in a new or used Toyota today. That's Glenn Toyota and Leonard Toyota.
And count on paying less at Leonard and Glenn Toyota.
Glenn Toyota, across from Nabisco. Leonard Toyota, a half mile from Riverside Square.
Visit the new Claremont and see how easy it is to buy or lease a new Cadillac, Pontiac, or Oldsmobile. At the new Claremont, you'll find superior service, wide selections, and unmatched prices. Save on Cadillac DeVille with the North Star system. Feel the driving excitement of Pontiac. Or get huge savings on Oldsmobile. Relax. Let us show you how easy it is. Visit your hometown dealer since 1959. Located on Bloomfield Avenue at Route 46 in West Tulsa.
The new Claremont, a whole new style.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
It's a tight, low-scoring affair here at halftime at the Garden. The Pacers lead by 1. Showing a little New York sarcasm, Frank Isola said, at least Reggie Miller hit something in the closing seconds. This, the point of impact. It crashed in to Mike Wise of the New York Times. Mike, are you all right?
I'm all right, Al. As you know, John and Reggie have problems governing their passions in this kind of affair, and it happens all the time. You got to expect that here in the front row.
Do you think he hurt his hand?
I think it's all right. I'm a little bit worried about him in the offseason in case they go after him. This could hurt his free agent status.
That's what I call being on the scene, Mike. Thanks a lot. All right, we will send you down to Bob Page for an update. I'll be joined by Walt Clyde Frazier as we continue halftime at the Garden. This one looks like it could be headed to a last-second finish.
Mike Wise, very smooth tonight. Orlando came into this evening's action needing 7 games. That's their, pardon the pun, magic number. Combination of their wins or Knicks losses to clinch the NBA's Atlantic. They get one of those tonight at least. Brian Hill and the Magic up 21 late third quarter. Eric Montross, the Celtics center, sprained his foot early in the first. He has not returned. Magic up 9 going into the second quarter of this ball game. It's just been all Orlando, as you can imagine. Sloppy Boston passing coming up will lead to a Penny Hardaway layup, and the lead was 17. Hardaway had 22 first-half points. Orlando was up 14 at the intermission. They got a 76-55 now. The NBA today fined Detroit coach Doug Collins $5,000 for taking his team off the floor last night at Orlando in the final 2 seconds when the Magic, up by 20 points, called a timeout. And ex-Knick Greg Anthony fined $5 grand, suspended 1 game today for throwing this punch at Sean Bradley last night. No action taken against Bradley, who told us today.
I'm not going to be taken advantage of. I mean, if someone swings at me, I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen twice. And if it does, it's I'm not going to get taken advantage of.
So the rest of the NBA should beware about Sean Bradley.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and look for fights, but I'm not one to back down. I mean, if someone's throwing a punch at me, I'm going to do my best not to let it happen and make sure it doesn't happen again.
We'll hear from Vancouver's Lawrence Moten, the former Syracuse star, in our half-hour show at 11 tonight.
Be with you in a moment. I used to have a give and take relationship with my bank. I gave them my checking account. They took 50 cents every time I wrote a check. I gave them my money market. It took 75 cents every time I used an ATM. I gave them a call to get a balance. 16 rings. So I left. Went to Citibank. Free ATMs, free PC banking, free phone banking. Even in a town this expensive, there's still a bank that won't nickel and dime you.
The city never sleeps.
It ends March 29th. The big winter clearance. Chrysler and Plymouth dealers are overstocked. To make room for spring shipments, Plymouth Voyager is now the lowest price minivan you can buy. Or lease Voyager for only $249 a month, 0 down. And get Air, automatic V6 and anti-lock brakes, only $249 a month, 0 down. And only until March 29th at Chrysler Plymouth's big winter clearance. Don't let it pass you by.
Oh, it were a stormy night, it were, and the waves, they were as tall as buildings. Then suddenly, crack, one of the waves hit the bow, smashed a bit, but then couldn't let go of the wheel. Dog. Then I heard a
Hey, honey, didn't we go to school together? You're quite a catch. Hey, what's your sign? I'm a Pisces.
9X. More information, more solutions, more stuff.
NHL trade deadline was this afternoon. The Rangers dealt enforcer Joey Koser to Vancouver for goalie Kay Whitmore. The Islanders sent Bob Sweeney to Calgary for one-time Ranger and Devil Pat Conacher. Junior lightweight fighter Arturo Gotti of Jersey City making appearances in Penn Station yesterday and around town to promote his fight Saturday night here at the Paramount Theater. He was asked today about his career since winning the IBF title.
I feel like a champion. I train like a champion. I trained very hard for Tracy. In this fight, it was the same way. I trained very hard, but a lot of people came up to me and said that I improved since the Tracy Patterson fight, so it gave me a lot of confidence.
And now a couple of unusual sights in sports. Here's Mike Tyson at an amateur boxing event trying his hand at camera work. Don't give up the boxing gig, Mike. As you can see, the lens cap is on the camera. And today at Atlanta, Carmelo Travieso of UMass had quite a grand entrance to the news conference prior to tomorrow night's NCAA game against Arkansas. Travieso was okay. Again, much more in our half-hour show later on, coming right after the Knicks post-game report.
We're in northern Kenya being chased by a black rhino. Whoa! Whew. The thing to remember when being chased by a black rhino is that while they're great in the straightaways, they can't corner worth beans.
The proceeding has been brought to you by the all-new Nissan Pathfinder, now with increased horsepower, for when you want to get away.
Howdy from Snapple. William Hort from Texas writes, your iced tea is the best, but when I guzzle it, it's gone in one gulp. Try this on for size.
Texas ready for anything big.
Snapple, made from the best stuff on earth.
Small bottle, big bottle.
Nobody does it like you.
For high traffic areas, now there's the deep cleaning power of the new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with 5 brush agitator.
Nobody does it like you.
Serious New York sports fans know there's only one place to turn for all the latest scores, stories, and highlights. The Coors Light MSG Sports Desk, only on MSG Network.
Where could the new Bell Atlantic B2B be? Well, the new B2B could be by the computer, for its thousands of northern New Jersey sales and service centers. Or the new B2B could be by the supply closet, for its endless lists of new suppliers. But the new B2B better be by the boss, because it now has a unique info guide stocked with great tips on how to grow your business. The all-new Bell Atlantic B2B, for your business today and your business to be. Bell Atlantic, the heart of communication.
We want to tell people what we do, so they know something about our business before they actually come to us. The Yellow Pages is a major, major source of business for us. And if it wasn't effective, we would have stopped. But we get 50% of our leads from the Yellow Pages. That's how people find us. If you're not here, then people say, well, what kind of a business are you?
Are you one of the 9?
I'm one of the 9, absolutely.
How are you? Thank you for coming. Bell Atlantic, the heart of communication.
Call now.
Some of our announcers' clothing is furnished by Harry Ellis Menswear.
Pacers leading by 1. They led by as many as 10, so a good second quarter comeback by the Knicks. The leading scorer's summary is brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Reggie Miller, Dale Davis, and Derek McKee, double digits for the Indiana Pacers. Davis also grabbing 7 rebounds. For the New York Knicks, the story is Patrick Ewing's dozen points, but only 1 rebound, uncharacteristic for him in the first half. Anthony Mason had 8 and 4 grabs. Starks with 7, Harper 5, and J.R. Reed with 4. Neither bench contributing very much. Al Trautwig with Walt Clyde Frazier. And just as a fashion note, Clyde, I'm told that the citrus colors will be big this spring, and so I really appreciate this little orange thing you've got going here today.
Thank you, Al, very much.
What do you think of the defense played by the Knicks in the second quarter? Got him back in it.
Yeah, both teams have been outstanding on the defense. Coming into the game, they're both defensive oriented. The Pacers allow 96 points, the Knicks 95, so they're among the leaders.
All right, we'll carry you through the highlights. And Clyde, we'll start things off with Reggie Miller, who loves to play to this Garden crowd. 4 of 11 from the floor.
He's the Pacers' top gun, averaging about 20 a game. This is the 23.9-inch three-pointer right here by Miller. He's a 41% shooter from there.
In the early minutes, the Pacers ran off 11 straight points, took a big lead, and exposed the Knicks defensively a bit.
Well, the Knicks were turning it over, and watch this exquisite passing with Double D getting the good stuff, so the Knicks were vulnerable on the defense.
Then the second quarter happened, and so did the Knicks.
The majesty of Patrick Ewing, averaging 22 a game. He erupted, especially along the baseline, this time beguiling the Pacers, and he was going to the line as well.
Clyde, I was very impressed by John Starks' game. Defensively very tight and offensively in control.
Also good composure. This time a good bound by Reed, giving Starks the opportunity. Starks, the Knicks' career leader in three-point plays.
So it's the Knicks down by 1. Clyde, you'd be good on the radio. Fashion tips and basketball insight. Where else do you get this stuff? Back in a moment. This is MSG.
Hugh McGaddick here with presidential hopeful Mike Hall. Mike, what are your views on McDonald's Filet-O-Fish and McChicken sandwich?
Well, I stand for what?
Don't you just love them? And they're on sale. Right now, get a Filet-O-Fish or McChicken for just 89 cents when you buy large fries.
That's great, but America craves change.
That's why I crave them. They're a great change of pace. Or in the morning, get a sausage McMuffin with egg for 89 cents.
But what about the issues? Issues?
Bless you. The Great American Sandwich Sale for a very short time at McDonald's.
Mitsubishi, definitely. You'll pay 0% interest, no accrued interest, and make no payments for 12 months at Nobody Beats the Whiz.
What do you need?
The perfect picture. And that's what you get with Mitsubishi big screen TVs and VCRs.
What are you gonna do?
Get Mitsubishi, pay 0% interest, no accrued interest, and make no payments for 12 months with your Mitsubishi 3 Diamond card at Nobody Beats the Whiz.
What are you waiting for?
Before cars had phones, cup holders, or even roofs, Mobil Oil was there. When Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic, Mobil was on board. Mobil was in the world's first minivans, in the first space shuttle, and in the tanks of Desert Storm. So if you think that all oils are alike, think about something. At Mobil, we've been changing oil for over 125 years.
When they read the New York Times, some people begin with world news or technology or theater, and others turn right to the crossword puzzle.
Tony Award winner, 9 letters. 9 letters.
The New York Times. Read what you like.
Tommy Toon. Figures.
Excuse me. The New York Lotto jackpot is now $15 million.
Cool.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Mobil Super Plus Detergent Gasoline. Mobil, how can we help you? By the New York Times. Read what you like. By Coca-Cola. Always jammin', always Coca-Cola. And by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers.
Moments away from the start of a second half in front of a star-studded crowd here at the Garden. Little celebrity theme. All the luminaries at the Garden: John Cirillo, Dick McGuire, Cal Ramsey, Ernie Grunfeld, Dave Checketts, Red Holtzman, Frank Murphy, Lou Carnesecca out there to salute John Goldner, longtime Madison Square Garden executive who turned 85 back in February. There are not many events that still take place here at the Garden where John Goldner does not take his familiar stance in the crossover between the locker rooms and the hallways backstage. Now, before the game, you know that Reggie Miller went over to Spike Lee, who told us it's his 39th birthday, and gave him a birthday present. Not to be outdone, the Knicks responded. Their representative, Charles Oakley, going over to Spike and delivering a little gift from Jerry Cosby. And the Knicks getting a little advance notice on the Big 4-0, which will be the next birthday for Spike, giving him his very own Spike Lee Knicks jersey. And while he said he'll never wear the Pacers one, I have a feeling, Marv, he'll slide this one on from time to time.
All right, thank you, Al. And on the subject of John Goldner, just great to see John here as he makes his way to Madison Square Garden on a, I would say we see him here from time to time, and we both have very fond memories of John going back to some of the earlier New York Knick days when, John, speaking for myself, when I was a youngster, and I know you were once a youngster.
Marv, always young at heart, though, but you did better than I did in our relationship, respective relationships with John Goldner. I know at the old Garden on 49th Street and 8th Avenue, you were once appointed a Knicks ball boy through his power.
Yes.
I was removed from many of the good seats when I'd sneak down from the mezzanine or the upper echelons of the Garden by John's good eye, and I didn't have the proper ticket sometime, and I found myself in the expensive side promenades, and John made sure that the trespassers moved on.
Even then, John had a good feel.
But he did it sternly, but with some class, I must say.
Third quarter is underway. The Pacers up by 1. Jackson off the steal. Here's Smits. Offensive foul, and Rick Smits, who in the first half played only 7 minutes because of foul trouble, picks up his 3rd right at the start. As you check out the Toyota matchup between John Starks and Reggie Miller.
It's a cruel world for Rick Smits. He's rolling in for a basket, and a smaller person just gets in his way. That's, I'm sure, how he feels about it.
Starks for 3. So John Starks, to this point, has been able to match Reggie Miller. Starks 4 of 6 from the field in his 18 minutes. He has 10 points. And it's the first time the Knicks have led since the early going when they jumped in front 3-0.
Ever notice how when Reggie Miller catches a pass, he walks? I mean, so often, and that seems to be an accepted part of his game. He'll get the ball and then take like 2 steps.
Mason. The Knicks open up a 4-point lead, and Larry Brown, unhappy, calls for a 22nd timeout.
One of the interesting meanings to this game is that the Pacers right now in the Eastern Conference enjoy a 2-game advantage over the Knicks. And as we get into playoff talk and playoff thinking, the difference in the position could be who plays the Bulls along the way in the playoffs. And the team that finishes 3rd will play the Bulls until the Eastern Conference Finals. So Knicks are thinking that they would love to displace the Pacers in the 3rd position. Nice Marriott Marquis look at that Anthony Mason side jump shot. The object of the game in the East is to avoid the Bulls until the Eastern Conference Finals.
And off the inbound, Jess Kersey blowing the whistle. And has called a holding foul on Harper. Wonder if Reggie Miller hurt his hand. We saw him take a punch at a television monitor at the end of the first half after he missed the consecutive 3-point shots, and then ran back to the locker room. Jackson gets it to Smits, and he's fouled by Reed.
Successful pass by Mark Jackson over the outstretched arms of Patrick Ewing to Smits.
And moments ago looked to be a disagreement that during the 22nd timeout. Disagreement between Mark Jackson and Rick Smits. Rick Smits having a very quiet evening. 1 of 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from the line, only 1 rebound, and the 3 fouls.
He played 7 minutes of the first half. How about Patrick Ewing played 20 minutes and had 1 rebound?
The Knicks lead 47-44. 2 minutes gone by in the 3rd quarter. Ewing shaking off Smits. Yes. Knicks by 5. McKee able to save that pass. Here's Smits. Harper with the open 3. Yes. So the Knicks have extended to an 8-point lead. A 10-1 run by the Knicks to start off this 3rd quarter.
Boy, they red hot. They were 4 for 4 now from the field.
And Derek McKee able to end that run.
There you see 4 for 4 for the Knicks here in the 3rd.
Starks thought that Ewing was cutting. And on the miscommunication, the Pacers will get it back. The Knicks at 37-26, 3 straight wins, 5 of the last 7. This after they had dropped 8 of the prior 10, and that included a 5-game losing streak. Jackson and Mason with the rebound. Ewing was open, but no one saw him. Ewing, and that will be number 4 on Smits. Rick Smits not able to get a game.
Ewing asking for the basketball. Finally, he gets it, and then goes in motion and takes a bump from Rick Smits. Rick cannot move his feet as quickly as Ewing can.
And again, the early departure for Smits as Antonio Davis checks in. Coming into tonight, the Knicks just 2 games behind the Pacers, who are in the 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference. If the Knicks can beat the Pacers tonight, they would be even in the loss column. Indiana 40 wins, and the Knicks would have 38. McKee, and the pass play is broken up. Looking the other way, the Knicks are just a game in front of Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland has won its last 2 games. Detroit coming off a loss. Here's Miller. Air ball played by Dale Davis. So the Knicks now lead 54-48.
Nobody in front of Dale Davis for that offensive rebound.
Mason off the fake. Jackson able to push it down. Now Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, and Derek McKee up front. Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller at the guards. Miller. Oh, what a shot. He thought he was fouled. An amazing shot by Miller. It's a 3, and he's hit with a technical. And being ushered aside by Mark Jackson. Reggie Miller, though, very fortunate that he does not get the call against him of the leg kick. Every once in a while you'll see the call, and that was the indication on the part of the Knicks. They thought it should have been an offensive foul on Miller as he got the kickoff, but instead no foul called, and John Starks is able to hit the technical. Here's another look. Yeah.
Let's watch Reggie's legs now. On that one, he didn't have the leg kick because his motion was going all forward. He fell down, and maybe he thought he deserved a foul because it might have looked like a foul from Reggie's viewpoint. But if he was fouled, he certainly made a heck of a shot.
Knicks by 4. And they're calling him very tight here. Derek McKee picks that foul up.
That looks like a give back to the Pacers. I mean, to the Knicks, rather, on that play.
Starks on the spin. Hopper setting up Reed. Well, J.R. Reed has located the touch, and the Knicks now lead 57-51. This is Dale Davis, and the foul committed by Ewing. It is his second.
Strange call. It seemed a delayed call.
Timeout taken with 6:43 left in the 3rd.
Excuse me. The New York Lotto jackpot is now $15 million.
Cool. Ah, chocolate eclairs.
Chocolate-filled donuts. Ooh, chocolate frosted.
It's Chocolate Lovers Month at Dunkin' Donuts.
Chocolate munchkins.
So there's an incredible offer on any flavor you want.
Chocolate chunk cookies. Chocolate chunk cookies.
As long as it's chocolate. Now when you buy a large cup of our fresh brewed coffee, you'll get any chocolate bakery item for 35 cents. Only at Dunkin' Donuts.
After driving through Botswana's never-ending supply of mud, we came upon the largest animal of the land, the African elephant. These massive creatures can plow over trees with the butt of their heads, and spectators best stand clear, for they can pick up objects weighing nearly 2 tons. The preceding has been brought to you by the powerful all-new Nissan Pathfinder, now with 20% more cargo room to help you haul big things around.
Remember, when you're having good times with good friends, drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Budweiser. Let's take another look, a Marriott Marquis look at Reggie Miller's right leg on this jump shot. Looks like John Starks might have felt that right leg of Reggie Miller. Maybe John Starks has the beef, not Reggie Miller, who fell down.
Reggie Miller's style on the jump shot, particularly the long-range jump, is to whip that leg out. And opponents always complain that he is committing an offensive foul. It's a very tough call for an official.
I must say, too, Marv, it hurts when someone kicks you in the shin, too. I would think it would deter defensive players from getting close to him. There's pain involved.
Sound like you're very experienced in that department.
I am a hoopster, yes.
No, I didn't. I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, I see.
Getting kicked in the shin. I'm referring to that.
Funny how our respective brains go.
So the Knicks with a 57-53 lead with 6:40 remaining in the third quarter. Knicks and the Bulls tomorrow night from the United Center in Chicago will be on hand on MSG. Ewing is fouled. Dale Davis going for the block. MCS Canada Knicks game night tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And game time for the telecast will start at 8:30. The Knicks and the Chicago Bulls, as we discussed earlier. Dennis Rodman, of course, is out. Scottie Pippen, the feeling is, will return despite the back problem. And Michael will be on hand, John.
I think Michael, knowing him as I don't, I think he could think in terms of going for 60 or so tomorrow. Just the way he thinks, the way he operates, and knowing the payback to the Knicks that he'd like to serve up, and the fact that they're going to be undermanned.
Well, it's the type of game with the Bulls undermanned, as Miller is able to hit a 16, and normally you don't like to see one player scoring that many points, although from time to time it has happened with the Bulls, but I could see the setting for that tomorrow night. Starks for 3. John Starks hitting from downtown. The Knicks have now hit their last 6 3-point shots, and they lead by 7. Miller for 3, and back comes Harper. Shoots the 3. Mason rebounds. Harper trying to spread it out, and then shoots from downtown.
Unusual to see Derek take 2 long jumpers like that. He's just oozing with confidence.
McKee, Derek McKee, who Larry Brown would like to see more offensive-minded, has had the touch, 6 of 8 from the field, 14 points. The high man for Indiana, Reggie Miller, with 16, 14 apiece for McKee and Dale Davis. Mason led beautifully by Starks, and John Starks collects his 4th assist.
Knicks are really picking apart the defense of the Pacers inside the foul line, unlike the first half.
Knicks by 7, just under 5 remaining in the third. McKee showing the confidence. Knicks 64 and the Pacers 59. McKee with the steal. Jackson with Reed back, behind the back from Miller, and it's a traveling violation.
Clark always likes to do something special on the break, and the old backcourt coach there, Larry Brown, sure not happy with Mark's handling of the basketball, although it seemed to be on target.
So the Knicks with the ball, leading by 5. Starks facing the double team, and Jackson calling for time on the interception. Called for the timeout in midair. 4 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. In the third quarter, the Knicks are up by 5 points. Here's the play. Starks pass getting away from him. Jackson with the interception and the call for time.
You have the perfect shot, the perfect moment, but the flash doesn't go off. Next time, use Energizer brand batteries from Nobody Beats the Whiz.
Introducing the Meltzer lineup, starting with gloves. Over 150 styles from Wilson, Rawlings, Mizuno, and others ranging from $9.99 to $149.99. This season's special, Dudley softballs, only $52.99 per dozen. Choose from more than 150 bats by Easton, Louisville Slugger, Adirondack, and others. Buy your team's uniforms from Meltzer's, and each member receives an additional 10% discount off all softball and baseball equipment. Meltzer's, the real authority when it comes to sports.
Hi, I'm Cousin Brucey at New Jersey's largest Chevy Geo dealer, Hawthorne Chevrolet. We strive to make you smile. There's over 500 new cars and trucks to choose from. Whether you want to lease a new car or truck for personal or commercial use, our insurance, finance, and leasing specialists can put together the right deal for you. Cousins, for a new car or truck, come to Hawthorne Chevrolet. And remember, we strive to make you smile. Hawthorne Chevrolet, we strive to make you smile.
Petnosh presents Scrabby Shopping Spree.
The whole gang's here. The whole gang's here.
That's right, Scrabby. You and your pals have smart owners. They know Petnosh is the one stop for food and supplies at unbeatable prices. Petnosh now carries a great selection of tropical fish and small pets from...
This is going to be one fast-paced hockey game.
.404 left in the third quarter. How about this pick J.R. Reed gives to Reggie Miller? Whack. Reggie out of the play. John Starks now. We'll take a look at the Marriott Marquis Sky Cam of the same play. Starks with all kinds of room after that pick by J.R. And 3 points. The New York Marriott Marquis, Broadway's biggest hit.
Well, the Knicks have hit 7 of 10 from the field here in the third quarter. Solid game for John Starks, making his second straight start. Hubert Davis sitting it out again with the knee problem. And Hubert is called day-to-day. 3:50 remaining in the third. Last touched by Hopper. And the shot clock is at 9. Herb Williams has checked in for J.R. Reed. So Williams up front along with Ewing and Mason. Starks and Hopper in the backcourt. Antonio Davis working on Herb Williams. Air ball on the hook shot. Mason gives it back to Starks. Miller all over him. Shot clock down to 4. Ewing has to force it. And almost hit. Knicks with a 5-point lead. Starks lost Miller off the screen. Reggie Miller taking it to the basket.
Great ball movement by Miller, handling it one-on-one, crossover dribble, beautifully executed. And how about the left-handed finish?
18 points for Reggie Miller. The Knicks lead is now 3. Ewing hit by McKee, looking to knock the ball away. So Derek McKee giving Patrick Ewing yet another look. Larry Brown rotating and defending against Ewing with Rick Smits in foul trouble. McKee has just picked up his third. And Ricky Pierce has come on. A very small team on the floor now for Indiana. Pierce for McKee. Ewing over Antonio Davis. Ewing thought he was fouled. Knicks lead 66-61.
Well, good instinctive move by Ewing, who can shoot over any of the Pacers on the court now. He's the biggest man out there.
Pierce played by Mason. Jackson for three.
Harper was looking for Herb Williams to roll to the basket, and Herb didn't do that. Now, however, he's got the smaller Mark Jackson on him, who's fighting Williams.
And a hold called on Jackson off the mismatch. Mark involved with Herb Williams. And Indiana now over the limit.
Well, in the switch now, 6'3" Mark Jackson against 6'11" Herb Williams. Mark trying to be subtle, but he didn't succeed.
So the Knicks now lead 67-61. Herb has not spent much time at the foul line. He is now 7 of 13 at the line for the season. We are just under 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
What a quiet game for Jackson. 0 for 3 from the field. He has 2 points from the line and 3 assists, far below his 10.8 assist average coming in tonight. It's Reggie Miller trying to get free. Starks fighting through all the picks that seem to come up.
John Starks sitting down. The Knick foul was called on Mason. Here's Miller off balance. And in the attempt to keep it alive, Antonio Davis whacked it off the 24-second clock, which is out of play, so the Knicks take over.
Well, the Knicks have certainly shot the ball well, Marv, in the third quarter at 51% for the game now. They were at 46% at the end of the first half.
Deflected out by Pierce. Here's McKee checking back in, and arrest for Miller. Reggie has played 31 minutes, 7 of 17 from the field, 2 of 2 at the line, 18 points and 6 assists. Very strong game for Reggie Miller. And now Haywood Workman for Mark Jackson, who, as you mentioned, has been very quiet. Haywood Workman, a hard-nosed player in his 5th NBA season out of Oral Roberts. Before Jackson came here on the trade from the Clippers, Haywood Workman was the starting point guard. Ewing draws the foul on Antonio Davis. For Davis's third, and Ewing to the line. The Knicks have won 9 of the last 10 games here at the Garden against Indiana. Overall, in regular season play, they have won 14 of the last 17 against the Pacers.
One of the points made about the impact of Jeff Van Gundy as the new Knicks head coach, Anthony Mason, said the other day that Jeff has transferred all the energy to defense first and everything else second. And boy, in that second quarter, when the Pacers had only 16 points, that really set the tone for what's followed, as the Knicks offense has really picked up here in the third, as well as the defense.
Knicks by 7 as we approach 1 minute left in the third quarter. Pierce trying to get the step on Anderson. Nice help as Ewing came over. Antonio Davis rescues. Shot clock down to 3. Had to pop it up. And now they get the new 24. What a pass from McKee. Beautiful play. McKee for Antonio Davis. And the Knicks now lead 68-63.
Ewing has 2 personal fouls on that play. He tried to draw the offensive foul, but did not succeed. But he didn't have a big defensive presence either, as the Indiana Pacer big guy just came at him with a lot of momentum.
They try to trap Harper, and it's Herb Williams back to help out. goes through the hands of Ewing.
That's a clear example why bounce passes are much better to deliver the big man than those line drives.
Workman for McKee. McKee matched up with Mason. Another beautiful pass. The block by Ewing, recovered by Workman. Shot clock at 5. Workman. The Knicks now lead 68-65. Haywood Workman with his first field goal. Down to 15 seconds in the third quarter. Knicks holding for a final shot in this third. 5 seconds. Anderson having difficulty on a double team, finding Williams. And it looks like a loose ball foul was called just prior to the buzzer on Mason. Let's see if they'll put time on the clock. Anthony Mason battling for the rebound. Was called for that foul, which puts the Knicks over the limit, which means Indiana will go to the line.
Mason with that tough disposal of Workman on that rebounding situation. You can see Mason just drive him down. He didn't mean it, Marv.
Of course. Reaction of Haywood Workman, who now will go to the line, and they have put 0.3 of a second on the clock. And in this situation, the Knick intent has to be to box out. If there's a missed free throw, Indiana could score on a tip.
Second time now in the game. At the end of a quarter, they've had to put more time back on the clock.
Workman is a 75% free throw shooter. Wayne Shinsis is back for Antonio Davis. So 0.3 of a second left third quarter. After 3, as Workman misses on both, the Knicks 68 and the Pacers 65.
In the world of credit cards, the traffic is getting pretty heavy, and it's easy to get confused by all the complicated new card offers and restrictions. But people who know where they're going use one card, Discover Card, with the Cashback Bonus Award, the Smart Rate Program, and no annual fee. For a positive impact on your finances, use the Discover Card. It pays to discover, the card that pays you back. Use it where you see the Novus sign.
The forecast, cloudy skies with flurries today, total accumulations of...
No, you can't control the weather. But a Jimmy can. Seek a safe haven. Seek a Jimmy. Now, second-time Jimmy lease buyers can enjoy the comfort of numbers like these. See your Tri-State GMC dealer today.
Listen when your car says,
"Get me to Lee Miles."
For the Lee Miles nearest you, call 1-800-LEE-MILES. New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by the New York State Lottery. Play Lotto and you could win millions of dollars. Hey, you never know. By your Tri-State GMC truck dealers, the strength of experience. And by Payne Weber. When you invest with Payne Weber, you invest with more intelligence.
As we were talking recently, Marv, the last few moments rather, the Knicks have had a nice, easy schedule of late. However, the Delta Airlines upcoming Knicks schedule shows the Knicks at Chicago tomorrow night, MCS Cannon game night at 8 o'clock. Sunday, an NBC game at Dallas, and then Tuesday the Knicks will play at Houston. The banged up Houston Rockets. Boy, they missed 5 players last night, including Hakeem Olajuwon in their loss.
And John, I always like to talk to you recently. Fourth quarter getting underway. The Knicks with a 68-65 lead. A look at the shooting in the third quarter. And Jess Kersey saying leg block, which means a new 24-second clock. The Knicks with Anthony Mason, Herb Williams, J.R. Reed up front. Willie Anderson and Derek Harper in the backcourt. Here is Reed. J.R. Reed, 4 of 5. He has 8 points. The Knicks 70 and the Pacers 65. Workman for Dale Davis, and again the Knicks are caught on the alley-oop.
Mason was there, Marv, but he just wasn't tall enough.
Dale Davis 6 for 6 from the field, 4 or 5 from the line, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Harper rebounded by McKee. Workman, and the Pacers are within 1. A minute 20 into the fourth quarter. Williams passed up on the open shot. Shot clock down to 1, and Reed is fouled. Fouled out by Dale Davis. That is his second. Here's Charlie Ward checking in. Replacing Derek Harper, leads with 8 points, 7 assists. Rick Smits is back for Indiana. He has not been able to get anything going. 1 of 6 from the field, but he has been plagued by fouls. He has 4 personal fouls.
Well, Rick has regressed here tonight, and back to a couple of years ago, problems he had where he'd be in and out of a game and never could get into a flow. And I can only think of him last year, Marv, against the Knicks in the playoffs and throughout the season, how tough he was. Boy, the Knicks couldn't do anything with him. He was shooting so well and really had established himself as an all-star center in the latter part of last year.
And comes off a strong game, 11 of 17 from the field. Anderson. And back comes Workman.
Where's the Willie Anderson that the Knicks last saw in Detroit when he was terrific?
Willie tonight 0 for 3 in his 11 minutes. Caldwell blocked by Williams. Herb Williams on the reject. Here's Anderson trying to keep the dribble alive. Mason picked up by Smits. Ricky Pierce stepping out for the steal.
That was a strange pass by Charlie Ward.
And the foul. So the Pacers will head back to the free throw line. Ward is called for the foul, the second, and Ricky Pierce, one of the best foul shooters in the league, will shoot a pair. Pierce this season at 83% at the line. And among active career free throw percentage leaders, Ricky Pierce is number 4. Reggie Miller is number 3.
Abdul Rauf is up on top this year as well.
And Ricky Pierce has tied the game at 71. 9.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. They want a double team on Ward. Mason Larry Brown was upset. He was screaming at Adrian Caldwell for the double, and he felt that Caldwell came out too late. Knicks lead 73-71. Smits. Caldwell crashing the boards. And back comes Ward. Mason for Reed. Open shot. Pierce blocked by Williams. Pierce for three. Pierce on the rebound. Pierce stopped by Mason. And lost it. It'll be Nick Ball. Not a happy sequence for Ricky Pierce.
Unusual to see him rejected twice and not at least come out of it with a foul.
Here's the double on Ward. Found Williams. Her passed on the shot and then crunched. Oh, he was walloped. Foul committed by Pierce. And Herb Williams will go to the foul line. Now Caldwell departs, replaced by Antonio Davis. So Herb Williams to the line. He's 1 of 2 at the line, and Herb has done a good job once again here tonight. 6 rebounds, 3 blocked shots.
Herb's becoming more and more of a factor for the Knicks over the last 4 games, 4 of the last 7 games rather. He's played over 20 minutes a game.
I think Jeff Van Gundy saw that 31-minute stint in his 1 game as a Toronto Raptor. Off the steal. Anderson from Ward. Willie Anderson on the stop. The Pacers called for time.
With the reliability of the most powerful V8 in its class, full-time 4-wheel drive, anti-lock disc brakes, and dual airbags, think of the new Jeep Grand Cherokee as the calm during the storm. Now lease the Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with 0 down and just $359 a month.
See your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
When I punch the clock, I'm a working machine. I got boots to do the job, got my Wolverines. I can tame a wild jackhammer, rewrite miles of interstate. I can work like hell, never get the blues, 'cause I feel like heaven in my Wolverine boots. Wolverine door shocks, guaranteed comfort or your money back. Work like hell, feel like heaven. Wolverine door shocks, made in the USA.
We both talked about it for years. Opening your own business, moving someplace where you can actually watch your kids grow up. But I'm still here, and she's there. I thought I was doing pretty well. I've got a solid portfolio. She must be doing better than that. What does she have that I don't have?
Payne Weber. Invest with more intelligence.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden in New York, which was the scene of our Coke Classic play as we flash back to Game 5 of the '94 Eastern Conference Finals between the Knicks and the Pacers. Reggie Miller putting his stamp on this one along with Spike Lee. Reggie, in one of the most dominating quarters in NBA playoff history, nailed 5 3-pointers, leading Indiana to the 83-77 victory over the Knicks. Miller with 25 of his 39 points in the 4th quarter, to the disgust of Spike Lee. That was 4 points shy of an NBA playoff record. Sleepy Floyd at 29 as a Warrior in a game against the Lakers in '87 in 1 quarter. And that sent the series back to Indianapolis with the Pacers up 3-2. Reggie Miller has certainly enjoyed playing on this court here at Madison Square Garden. Right now, Reggie on the bench getting a rest. Foul was committed by Anthony Mason. That is his fourth. Now Patrick Ewing returns, and Mason will sit down. The Knicks lead 77-71 with 4 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Mason with 14 points and 7 rebounds. Reggie Miller is now back on the floor as the Knicks take over. Indiana with Smits, McKee, Antonio Davis, Jackson, and Miller. J.R. Reed firing it up as he was fouled.
J.R.'s leaving a nice stamp on the Pacers as far as the Knicks are concerned, hitting the side jumpers, driving the ball, showing nice variety in his offense, and chatting. As you can see, he's a chatter out there. He likes to talk to his teammates. Mason getting a rare rest. Played 22 minutes in the first half, still leading the NBA and shade under 43 minutes on the average per game.
6 of 8 from the field, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for Anthony Mason, who on Saturday night against the Sixers played in his 400th career NBA game. I don't think Anthony thought, say, some 5-6 years ago when he was struggling in the CBA or perhaps in Turkey, another Pacer turnover. I don't think in his wildest dreams he would have ever thought that it would turn out the way it has. Charlie Ward and Willie Anderson now in the backcourt. Patrick Ewing, J.R. Reed, Herb Williams up front. Anderson picked off by Jackson. Jackson with the spin, finding McKee. Reed lost his balance, and they'll jump it up.
Smits was desperately trying to get a timeout call as he had possession of the ball for a very brief period. He's scrambling for the ball, a 7'4" Smits trying to get the attention of the official with a timeout and the gesture, but it didn't work.
And the crowd cheering on Charlie Ward against the 7'4" Smits. Jackson, Mark Jackson with his first field goal.
Charlie was right up there initially with Smits.
Knicks 78, Pacers 73. Ward putting on moves against Jackson. Shot clock at 6. Down to 3. Ewing had a force, and he was fouled. Number 5 on Smits, and not a smart foul.
No, that was very poor judgment by Rick. I'll tell you, Mark, Rick could have been called for a foul prior to that because he was pushing Ewing pretty hard before Ewing came out and faced him up like a forward. And then as Patrick resets himself, gets the basketball, he draws the foul.
Ewing 10 of 12 at the line. Smits taking a seat once again, replaced by Antonio Davis.
As far as Dwayne Shinsis, I would feel that I'm not very important to this Pacer team. He's a big man, and he seems to be, situation has to be desperate for Larry Brown to use him.
Coming up on 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, Derek McKee, 8 of 11. 18 points, the Knicks 80, Pacers 75. Ward for 3. And McKee lost it. Wait a moment. One official claiming last touch by McKee, and the other saying batted out by Reed. They may jump it up. Or let's see, will they change the call? John Starks willing to settle for the jump ball, but the call was changed, and the Knicks will have possession.
Official Jess Kersey, long-time NBA official, came in and made the decisive call.
J.R. Reed hears it from the crowd. Solid game, 10 points, 6 rebounds. Anthony Mason is back. The Knicks lead is 5. And again, a pass that is telegraphed, thrown by Starks. Miller putting the move on, lost it, and then recovered. Jackson for 3. Mark Jackson has come on late.
That's their number 4 play, Marv.
I see.
Very deceptive, but Jackson handled it beautifully, I must say.
The Knicks now lead 80-78. 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. Knicks trying to pull within a game of the Indiana Pacers, who are 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Ewing, yes.
Great ball movement.
The Knicks lead 82-78. Harper providing trouble for Jackson. Jackson for 3. Mark Jackson with consecutive three-pointers, preceded by his first field goal of the night. Did not score a field goal until the fourth quarter. And the Knicks now lead 82-81. A good look from Starks, finding Mason. That got Larry Brown crazy.
All the focus was on Ewing as the target by the defense.
The Knicks lead is now 3 with 4:20 to go in the fourth. And you hear the chant of defense. Miller was fouled. Foul committed by Starks. That is his 3rd. And the Knicks with their 3rd team foul. Indiana has 4. So Reggie Miller at the line. He's 2 of 2 at the foul line. Reggie, as we discussed earlier, battling his way out of a recent shooting slump. He was really off. 23 of 81 over a 5-game stretch.
Reggie now hitting his per-game average this season.
You know, last year, John, actually a so-so regular season for Reggie Miller, but then came on in the playoffs with some great moments in several series.
Showing that he could be called Mr. May.
Knicks lead is 1, just under 4 remaining in the fourth quarter. Now Harper guarding Miller, looking for the pick. Miller turned back. Mason on the ball. Mason handling against McKee. Starks for 3. Yes! And the Knicks now lead 87-83. Timeout called by Indiana.
Lakeview Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle creates a relaxed environment so you feel comfortable and confident when buying a new vehicle.
We have tried to make the customer part of our family, and we feel like we're part of theirs. Customers feel confident with us because they know when they come in here, they're greeted by professional, courteous, and knowledgeable employees, both in our service and in our sales end.
Lakeview Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle.
Our motto here at Lakeview Motors has always been, price is important, but satisfaction is priceless.
Did you know that Passaic County Public Schools have over 68,000 students, and 2 out of every 3 go on to institutions of higher learning?
In fact, this past year, 3 Passaic County high schools were ranked among the top 10% in the state. Passaic County Public Schools,
dedicated to helping children do their best work even better. Support our public schools because they're worth it.
Can I help you?
Could you show me the cars in this ad?
Oh, we just ran out of that one.
Only one? Says there's 20 in stock.
Oh, yes, it does. Well, but only one at that price.
At Saturn of Route 23 and Saturn of Ramsey, we have 50 Saturn SL1s at one low price, just $13,885. And look at these features. All this, just $13,885 at Saturn of Route 23 and Saturn of Ramsey.
Well, the Knicks right now with a little cushion thanks to John Starks' fine shooting. Herb Williams handling the ball nicely, finds John Starks in three-point range. John hits the big shot. Loves to look at the Pacer bench and ham it up a bit as he makes his way back up court.
Well,
by timeout.
John, I would think that was an answer to responses prior to the shot on the Indiana bench. John Starks has had an excellent game. 6 of 8 from the field. 17 points. He's 4 of 6 from downtown. And has been able to play Reggie Miller evenly. Reggie with 20 points. Rick Smits back on the floor, playing with 5 fouls. 3 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. The Knicks leading 87-83. Miller coming off the pick, but Jackson went the other way. Ewing able to pick it off.
Unusual pass by Jackson. That was so softly delivered.
Trying to hold up and had released it. Ewing would love to foul out Rick Smits. Goes at him, goes by him. Smits that time pulled away. Did not want to pick up his 6.
Boy, it's got to make the Knicks coaching staff happy when they see Ewing go to the hoop like that.
The Knicks by 6. Miller for 3. Reggie Miller, who can turn a game in very quick fashion, knocks down the three-pointer, and it brings the Pacers within 3 with 2.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. Ewing now played by Dale Davis. Yes. The Knicks 91 and the Pacers 86. We've seen a few of these conclusions between these two clubs. Miller threw the foul. He was hacked and will go to the line.
He's such a ham. He makes the move and then works the crowd with his glances.
Foul committed by Herb Williams. Reggie just loves the atmosphere here, playing at the Garden in New York. But the question is, because, you know, he's kind of a small town guy, Riverside, California, not an LA type guy, and he is a free agent. There's been all kinds of speculation. Would he be interested in signing with the Knicks? There's one school of thought that says that Reggie might not be that comfortable on a game-in, game-out basis in a big city like New York, as much as he loves it in small doses.
But boy, is he going to enjoy the speculation.
The Knicks lead 91-87. Rare free throw miss for Reggie. We're down to 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Starks, played by Jackson, using the pick and popping to Hopper. Derek Hopper. That's a two-pointer put on the line. Knicks are hitting big shots down the stretch. They're up by 7. Minute 45 remaining in the fourth quarter. McKee angling for position. McKee. What a stroke he has shown here tonight. 20 points for McKee on 9 of 12 shooting. And with a minute and a half to go in the fourth, the Knicks lead 93-89. Ewing setting the pick. Good play by Jackson to break it up. And the Knicks will talk it over. Timeout taken. They'll have 14 on the shot clock when we resume. It's the Knicks by 4. We'll be right back.
Maybe you've always seen yourself in a new Jeep Cherokee Sport with a 190 horsepower engine, no charge air, and driver's airbag. But maybe you've never seen one fitting into your budget.
So maybe you'll be surprised to see for 0 down and $289 monthly 1 cam. The easy-to-lease Jeep Cherokee Sport. Now, if you can see it in your head, you can see it in your driveway.
To be a winner, you need teamwork. On the court, and on the street. I'm Dennis Vaco, Attorney General of the State of New York. Every day, drug dealers are trying to lure you down a losing path. Be someone your friends can look up to.
That's right, Dennis. Be a leader. Say no to drugs.
And join me in the New York Knicks in our fight against drugs. And be on the winning team.
The ball's in your court.
Knicks coming up big with their shooting in the closing moments of this game. A minute and a quarter to go. Fourth quarter scoring, the Knicks coming up strong. 25 points. Interesting fourth quarter statistics. The last 3 games versus the previous 7 games for the Knicks. The last 3 games, the Knicks are scoring more and defending very meaningfully. The previous 7 games, they were outscored by 7 points in the fourth quarter on the average over a 7-game period. Ewing with the side jump shot a moment ago. That was big. He loved it too. Big enthusiastic response by Ewing. Derek Harper also. Another tri-captain of the Knicks. Derek Harper hitting a 2-point shot. Boy, it's got to make Jeff Van Gundy feel real good as a coach when he gets that kind of performance from his leading guys.
Herb Williams walking over to inbound, just said hello to his one-time Indiana Pacer teammate, Clark Kellogg, who is handling the color commentary for the Pacers. Herb is loose. 1:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Ewing lost it off his foot and is hit with a technical foul. Not wise on the part of Patrick Ewing. Just exploded, lost it at this stage of the game. Hit with a tee where points are so precious, it puts Reggie Miller at the line. 93-90. The Knick lead is now 3.
Well, I guess Patrick feel that he got something done with that response, but all he did do was possibly set his team back.
For Ewing, his 11th technical of the season. And he has had several in the fourth quarter. 5 to be precise. That may be very costly. Miller for 3. And Williams comes up with it. Foul is called on the Pacers. Indiana is over the limit. Foul on Dal Davis, his 3rd. Herb Williams with a terrific effort. You won't see it in the shooting column, where Herb is 1 of 5, but 3 of 4 at the line, 7 rebounds, 4 blocked shots.
Knicks have shot the ball so well in the second half. Right now they're at 53% for the game after a 46% first half.
Herb Williams has logged 25 minutes tonight. Clutch free-throw shooting. And the Knicks now lead 95-90. Just under 1 minute remaining in the fourth quarter.
Oh, Starks has the job now.
Miller for 3. Rebound Ewing. And another Indiana foul. Rick Smits has fouled out. Never did get into it. 18 minutes for Smits, 1 of 7 from the field, only 3 points.
Watch John Starks in pursuit of Reggie Miller. Creamed on that pick by Smits. If you were a betting man, Marv, I think you would have bet that Reggie would make that. He was wide open.
So the Knicks now lead by 6 with 48 and 5/10 seconds remaining. in this fourth quarter. Ewing is 12 of 14 from the field. 7-point Knick lead and a Indiana timeout.
This year's Olympics are in Atlanta, but the games will be everywhere. The Bud World Party. A great time to share a Bud with friends, no matter where you are. Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 96 Summer Games.
Ah, bonsoir, messieurs, bonsoir, mesdames. Alors, the fresh oats for you, madame, et messieurs, the winter grass for you. And will you be taking wine with your meal? Alors, very special, the turnips with sugar lumps, and the carrots were for the madame. Messieurs, bon appétit.
NYNEX. More information, more solutions, more stuff.
Well, 7-point lead in 48 seconds should be enough for the Knicks. They've worked very hard to get to this point. Timeouts, the Knicks with 2 and a 20. Pacers with 1. Patrick Ewing drew a technical a moment ago, dribbling the ball. Looked as though McKee might have driven the ball out of the bounds with his left hand. Ball was called out off Ewing, and he had a temper tantrum, resulting in a technical foul. And he kept that mean face on him. He was really unhappy, and the official had to call the technical based on Patrick's response.
But the Knicks able to maintain the lead. They're up by 7 with 48 5/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. Indiana Pacers come in losers of 3 of the last 4. And a loss here tonight would cut it to only a 1-game lead over the Knicks in the battle for third in the Eastern Conference. Foul on Mason. Actually, about a week and a half ago, you would not think of a battle for third, as the Knicks were looking the other way and still have to be concerned about Cleveland and Detroit and Atlanta, perhaps Charlotte, Miami. But the Knicks, if they can hang on here and win this evening, would make it 4 straight. And under the new coach Jeff Van Gundy, a record of 4 up and 1 down, heading to Chicago tomorrow, and then a very difficult stretch. Start of a 4-game, 7-day road trip. Herb Williams hears it from the crowd. Willie Anderson has come on. Herb Williams, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 4 block shots.
Look at how Pierce has the ball on his fingertips as he shoots the ball, which is the right way to do it, but you rarely see people shoot it like that.
97-92. Knicks with the lead and a half minute to go in this fourth quarter. Knicks in no hurry to shoot the ball, and the foul was given. Both clubs are over the limit, so John Starks will go to the line. Miller picks up his second. Starks is 1 of 1 at the line. John Starks has been able to go head-to-head in very solid fashion against Reggie Miller here tonight. That is always the question mark when these two tangle. Reggie Miller making the statement after the explosion by Starks back in early February in Indianapolis, as we mentioned right at the start, that Miller felt that he knows what buttons to push to get under John Starks' skin. Starks said yesterday, saying Miller doesn't know what he's talking about, that it wasn't anything he did or said to get him going. But Reggie, again, obviously trying to get into the head of John Starks. It has not worked here tonight.
We're really not that different. We make about the same. Both have kids in college. Worry about putting away enough to ever retire. So why do I feel he's way ahead of me? Seems to be getting better advice. Comes up with stuff I never even think of. What's he have that I don't have?
PaineWebber. Invest with more intelligence.
As the official airline of the 1996 Olympic Games, Delta is setting the pace for business travelers with an event of its own, the Around the World Relay. It's a team event, coordinating thousands of flights a day to cities throughout the world. So you can go from one plane to another, one place to another, in record time. Delta Airlines.
Nobody does it like you.
The new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with 5-brush agitator. Compared to professionals, there's no comparison.
Nobody does it like you.
30 seconds to go. The Knicks with a 7-point lead. Many fans here filing out now. Forgetting Reggie Miller's in the building. But Lightning can't strike twice, Marv. Reggie can't make 2 3-point shots in 30 seconds. Oh, no.
All right, Indiana ball. Ricky Pierce off the fake. Going glass. It's 99-94 with 26 seconds remaining. And the key for the Knicks, as you think back to that incredible game here at the Garden, the playoffs last season, is getting the ball inbounds, and they have been able to do that off the pressure defense of the Pacers. Miller called for that foul, his third. Again, the intent to stop the clock and hope the Knicks miss a free throw or two. Willie Anderson to the line. He is 1 for 1 at the line, and he does miss right here. He has had his problems with the Knicks at the line. 11 of 22 from the free throw line. Hits 1 of 2, and the Knicks lead 100-94. Jackson tries to rush it down, and then fires for 3. Well, it's Mark Jackson from downtown, and this game is not over. 3-point lead. Harper able to chase it down, and he's fouled.
They got 5 points as quickly as it can be done. That's tremendous scare presented to the Knicks right now by the Pacers.
So Derek Harper to the line was fouled by Dale Davis. 4 on Davis. Harper at the line for the first time. Derek, a 76% free throw shooter.
Derek evidencing great confidence with that smile.
And the Knicks now lead 102-97. No timeouts remaining for Indiana, so Jackson has to race it down. 10 seconds to go. Starks all over Miller. Amazing he got that shot off. Antonio Davis coming up short. Final seconds. Good play by Anderson. Knocked it away. Antonio Davis able to convert, and that will do it. So the New York Knicks, with a solid performance, have defeated the Indiana Pacers. And the Knicks turnaround continues under Jeff Van Gundy. They have won 4 of 5 as they beat the Pacers 102-99. They go to 38-26. They've won 4 in a row. They are only a game behind Indiana. A very impressive performance as they now look ahead to the Chicago Bulls tomorrow night in the Windy City. We'll be back to wrap it in a moment.
If you're a Knicks fan, you've got to have it. The 1995-96 Knicks Yearbook. Player profile, coach profile, team news, community affairs, city dancer profiles, schedule, great action photos, and much more. To order, send $12 check or money order to the New York Knicks, P.O. Box 418, Norwood, New Jersey, 07648. Get yours today.
Some of the people who benefit most from the Discover card don't even have one. Hi, I'm Scott Hamilton. Each year, the Discover Card youth programs recognize thousands of kids who are making a difference. In fact, Discover Card has already contributed over $16 million in support of this unique collection of programs. So as long as there are kids with dreams, we'll be here, helping them reach those dreams.
Freedom! Talk the talk, walk the walk with our full line of cellular phones from Motorola, Nokia, and AudioVox. Nobody beats the Wiz.
What do you need?
A choice. Sign up with Nobody Beats the Wiz and AT&T wireless service and choose the plan.
What are you gonna do?
Go cellular at Nobody Beats the Wiz mega stores and see the 21st century in communication, information, and entertainment.
What are you waiting for?
Nobody beats the Wiz.
Serious New York sports fans know there's only one place to turn for all the latest scores, stories, and highlights. The Coors Light MSG Sports Desk, only on MSG Network.
Well, John Starks looks like John Starks again, and the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks played each other like they always do, and the Garden felt like the Garden. The final score, the Knicks 102, the Indiana Pacers 99. Well, there we sat at 30 seconds to go, the Knicks leading 99-92. And I looked up, and I guess maybe there was a key train leaving at Penn Station because the Garden was emptying. And you wonder, how much do we have to see from Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers in the final seconds to tell us that anything is possible? Last year, the playoffs, game one, you remember 8 points in the final 18 seconds. Those 2 threes, the crippling run by Indiana that knocked the Knicks and shocked the Garden in game one. Eventually, of course, the series was won by Indiana. Now, same scenario, except it was Reggie Miller getting a chance, but missing. This after a Mark Jackson three had quickly made it a 3-point game. But the Knicks do hold on. They hit just enough free throws, hit all the big shots they needed down the stretch. And soon Charles Oakley and Hubert Davis will both be back. And it's really a marvel what has happened to this team under Jeff Van Gundy. The New York Marriott Marquis play of the game. Closing minutes, John Starks eluding everyone and hitting the three. As the New York Knicks, in this 5-game run of Jeff Van Gundy, have blown out Chicago, beaten Indiana, and now have a chance to continue this role tomorrow night at the United Center. Importantly, in the Eastern Conference, they are now tied with Indiana in the loss column and, in effect, control much more of their destiny than they did before tonight. Let's go get an update with Deb Kaufman.
All right, thanks so much, Al. Let's take a look now at what else is going on today in the world of sports. The NHL trading deadline has come and gone, and Neil Smith has made one last deal. He gave up right-winger Joey Kocur for backup goalie Kay Whitmore in a deal with Vancouver. The 28-year-old Whitmore has been playing in the IHL. On the ice tonight, the Devils hosting the Bruins in Boston, fighting for a playoff spot. Got 29 saves from Bill Ranford and won the game by a final of 2-1. Highlights later. On the baseball scene, the Mets in a high-scoring game this afternoon against the Astros. The news here is that Paul Wilson showed himself to be human. He gave up 3 runs in the first inning. These are the first runs that Wilson has given up all spring. He was generally roughed up. Butch Husky, by the way, did have another home run. The Yanks only played 5.5 innings today because of rain down in Florida. Melito Perez went the distance. He did give up 3 earned runs in those 5.5 innings. We'll see you again in the post-game report. Let's go back now to Al Trautwig, who's standing by at the Garden floor after this Knicks win.
Back at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks 102, the Indiana Pacers 99. John Starks hit 4 3-pointers, hit for 19 big plays in the fourth quarter, and he joins us now courtside. John, I don't know, I've never in my memory seen a team react the way this team has to a coaching change. You know, usually you see a couple of games and then there's a lull, but this doesn't appear to be a lull. This appears to be something that this team is going to build on and build on and build on.
No, this is real. You know, we needed a coaching change. The organization saw that we wasn't going in the right direction. So you have to give them a lot of credit. They stepped up and made a change, and right now we're back to playing our style of basketball.
Let's talk about the way this game went. Indiana came out roaring, hit the 11 points in a row at the start, but the Knicks had a very good, solid response. Called a timeout, resettled the defense, and were able to get right back in it.
No question. That's just the maturity and veteran players understanding the situation. You know, Jeff did a great job of calling that timeout. He didn't want them to get too far ahead of us. We calmed down and got back out there and started playing basketball.
John, I don't know how many times we had replays tonight of you playing defense against Reggie Miller where he didn't get free, didn't get the ball. You got a couple of good picks to get free yourself. I mean, you and him renewed it again tonight, right?
No question. You know, whenever you're playing against Reggie, it's a challenge. I think it's a team challenge as well as the individual challenge. They do a great job of setting picks for him. And it's up to me to get through those picks, and it's up to my teammates to help me.
Can you describe the satisfaction? You had a chance to hit open threes. You had a chance to ham it up in front of the Indiana bench there down the stretch. You look like the old John Starks. A fan just yelled out, "Welcome back." Can you describe what it feels like for you?
Well, I'm just having fun right now. I think the game of basketball is supposed to be fun, and you know, I can't be in a happier situation that I am right now. So I'm just getting back to playing my aggressive style of basketball and just try to show some enthusiasm out there on the court, and hopefully it rubs off on my teammates.
All right, couple of big statement games under Jeff Van Gundy now. This obviously, of course, an important one in Indiana. How high is the confidence level in you and in your team?
The confidence level is there. It's always been there. It was just been suppressed. We just needed somebody like Jeff and the coaching staff to bring it out of us. And, you know, Jeff seen the situation that was going on, and, you know, he got us back to working hard again and just bringing it out of us.
It's very difficult to play a back-to-back in any situation in this league, but to go from Indiana into Chicago tomorrow is even more difficult. Maybe the most difficult back-to-back you can have for the Knicks right now. How are you feeling? How important is tomorrow? Set the scene for me a little bit.
I'm feeling good. I think my teammates are feeling good. This is a confidence ball club that's going into Chicago. It's a good test for us, you know, to play two great teams like Indiana and Chicago back-to-back, then move on to the Texas trip. It's a good test for us right now.
And I'm sure they weren't too thrilled getting hammered here, so they'll be looking for you.
No question. We're looking forward to. You know, we're going to go up there and do the things that we did here. We know it's going to be a lot different game, so if we can go up there and be aggressive, I think that's the key against Chicago. You have to be aggressive. And then we should be able to beat them.
All right, John, thanks a lot for your time.
All right, thanks a lot.
John Starks, very, very solid tonight as the Knicks win this one over the Indiana Pacers. The Hoover player of the game, 19 points, 6 of 8 from the floor, 4 of 6 from beyond the stripe. John Starks, down the stretch, was one of the key Knicks. Patrick Ewing as well virtually. When you think of all the Knicks that were on the floor in the fourth quarter, every single one of them had a key hoop, a key play, a steal, a pass, something, and they were able to contribute in a big way. We'll look down all the numbers and stats and set things up in our post-game report. We'll hear from what has to be a thrilled Jeff Van Gundy with his dad here at Madison Square Garden tonight. But first, we officially wrap up our game coverage now by sending it back to Marv Albert. Marv?
All right, Alan, we are looking to tomorrow night at the United Center in Chicago as the Knicks open up the 4-game, 7-day road journey going up against the Chicago Bulls. That's tomorrow night, and we'll have it all for you right here on MSG. The MCS Cannon Knicks game night will get it started at 8 o'clock. The Knicks and the Bulls, followed by the Texas trip, which opens up Sunday in Dallas. The Knicks post-game report is coming up. Much more on the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers as the Knicks make it 4 straight wins. They go to a record of 38-26 with a victory tonight over Indiana. Marv Albert with John Andres and Al Troutwick saying so long from the Garden. Al will be back in a moment with the post-game.
New York Knicks basketball has been brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 Olympic Summer Games. This month's for you. By Foot Locker, where it all begins. By the Discover Card, proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. By Hoover, the #1 name in floor care. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. And by the United States Postal Service. We deliver smart solutions for you.
Star on the rise, Arturo Gatti captured the World Junior Lightweight title on December 15th at Madison Square Garden. Now this charismatic Jersey fighter returns to the scene of his greatest triumph. March 23rd at the Garden's Paramount Theater, Arturo Gatti defends his title against Wilson Rodriguez. And in a long-awaited contest, Brooklyn's Junior Jones faces Orlando Canizales. March mayhem at the Paramount. Gatti versus Rodriguez. Canizales versus Junior Jones. Be there.
The Knicks head for Chi-Town to battle Michael and the Bull after MCS Cannon Game Night tomorrow night right here on MSG. The New York Knicks postgame report is brought to you by Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.
And so we begin on tonight's edition of the New York Knicks postgame report. So far, the Jeff Van Gundy era is an upbeat one. 102-99. The Knicks are 4-1 for their new coach as they ride Patrick Ewing's 31 points. In contrast, he allows Rick Smits, who frequently plays well against the Knicks, absolutely nothing. Rick Smits shoots 1 for 7 from the floor, and that gives the Knicks a tremendous offensive edge considering John Starks' offensive contribution. And again, the Knicks resetting their goal on recapturing the fourth quarter as a time, as they had once before played, where they owned the plays, where they made the big shots, got the big stops. That's exactly what allowed them to win this game tonight, 102-99. It'll be interesting to hear the post-game comments of Jeff Van Gundy and other Knicks players from their locker room. But first, how did the Knicks do it? Let's go to Deb Kaufman.
All right, thanks, Al. Well, the last time that these two teams met, John Starks was throwing chairs, and we had to hear about it later from his grandmother. Well, things tonight were much calmer, and even though it got interesting at the end, the Knicks coolly defeated the Pacers by a final of 102-99, and here's how it happened. Things are always interesting when Reggie Miller's in town. He tried to make nice tonight by giving Spike Lee a birthday present. It was a Pacers jersey. Early in the first half, the Pacers getting off to the good start. Ewing lost control. It's back the other way. Eventually, it's Derek McKee who gets it to Dale Davis for the stuff, and it was the Pacers by 6 early on. They led by 8 after 1 quarter to the second. Ewing grabs the long John Starks pass. He fakes a couple of times, gets the jumper and the foul. It's a 3-point play, and the Pacers' lead was cut to 2. Well, since the coaching change, the Knicks have shown much better ball movement. This Knick passing sequence leads to a Derek Harper 3, and the game was finally tied at 37. Here's the final seconds of the first half. Reggie Miller will take the 3, and he misses. They go right back to him, and Reggie again misses the 3. So as the half ends, in his frustration, he just pushes the courtside TV monitor right at Mike Wise, the New York Times writer. It was the Pacers still leading by 1 at the half. Now, not to be outdone, the Knicks try to come up with a birthday gift of their own, and quickly they get Spike Lee the number 40 jersey. Spike will be 40 next year. Patrick Ewing to John Starks for 3, part of a 10-1 run to open the third quarter. Starks was 4 of his first 6 from 3. Reggie Miller now hits a 3 here, and now he thought he was fouled. He would get a technical on the play, and the Knicks still led by 3. The game did get tight in the fourth. Charlie Ward, the nice play, stripping Haywood Workman. He finds Willie Anderson at the other end, and the Knicks stay up 77-71. The pace picks up. The ex-Knick Mark Jackson hits a 3. His first field goal did not come until the fourth quarter, and he hit 2 quick 3s. John Starks now with the beautiful look inside to Anthony Mason. The Pacer defense not there, 84-81. Later in the fourth, now one of the biggest plays of the game. Over in the corner, it's John Starks. He will hit the 3, and he lets the Pacer bench know about it. The Knicks go up by 6. Indiana cut it to 1 with a couple of key shots, but again, New York responded. Patrick Ewing, who led the Knicks with 31, gets the corner jumper, and the Knicks win a nice one by a final of 102-99. Elsewhere, the Magic trounced Boston 112-90. Penny at 35, Shaq with 28. The Raptors sneak up on Charlotte 107-89. The Hawks win by 5. Steve Smith poured in 26, and the Heat hold off the Pistons 102-93. The Spurs win at Washington. David Robinson had 33, and George Murison had 30 against the Admiral in the loss. Sacramento leading Milwaukee. They're on the road 106-87. The 76ers are in Utah. It's a 16-point lead for the Jazz in the third quarter. And Minnesota and the Clippers, 2 lottery teams, are playing in L.A. Well, in some NBA news, Greg Anthony was suspended for a game and fined $5,000 for throwing a punch at the Nets' Sean Bradley. Both players were ejected at the time of the scuffle. We will hear from Greg Anthony later tonight, as well as his Vancouver teammate Lawrence Moten on our full half-hour edition of the MSG Sports Desk, so you don't want to miss that. Stay with us. We'll go back to the Garden floor for more on reaction in the Knicks' 102-99 win over the Pacers. See you later.
The New York Knicks postgame report is brought to you by
Citibank. For banking anytime, anywhere, any way you choose. At Citibank, the city never sleeps.